Hello, Voices of Wrestling listener. Dave Ryan here. Have you ever wondered to yourself how many hidden gems are hidden away inside the last years of World Championship Wrestling? Have you ever asked yourself how many tenuous gags can be made about the name Mike Enos? And have you ever thought about what it sounds like for two Irishmen to interpret a very chaotic company through its B show? The answers to all this and more are just a click away. Check out Days of Thunder every second Thursday on the Voices of Wrestling podcast network.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Here we go! Kiss me like a love star. So I'm a cowrie. Whoa, whoa, give me a kata omoi. Namida no shitsure give me fire, give me that what I desire.
You're listening to the Emerald FlowShow on the Voices of Wrestling podcast network.
Welcome to episode 63 of the Emerald FlowShow. We're a podcast on the Voices of Wrestling podcast network. You can follow us on X at Emerald FlowShow and listen to us on all of your favorite podcast apps. Leave us a 5-star review if you are on Apple Podcasts. And you can go to voicesofwrestling.com/donate to donate to the show if you're feeling generous. I'm Gerard here with Paul. And Paul, this is our biggest show ever.
Yes, but I actually have a briefing I want to touch on before we launch into things, because I recently went to my supermarket and I found something that will make all Puro fans that have been to Japan previously jealous. Because what I found out that the supermarket that is basically like 2 minutes from my house sells now is none other than Suntory's finest, Strong Zero, which
oh wow!
I will open one now in celebration of our massive episode. So I hope that actually came across.
So that's a new thing? I thought I saw someone else posting that they had found Strong Zero somewhere outside of Japan too.
That's might have been me in the Slack.
Okay. Wow.
I don't know if someone else did it, but like, yeah, that was me. Like, I found it like 2 weeks ago because I was buying stuff for my birthday party. Mm-hmm. And I was like, basically, it was like with a buddy there, and I was carrying like all of the like alcohol we had already bought for it. And then I just see it there in the freezer, and I'm like, wait a minute. I know this can. I've seen this can many a times before in a convenience. And I was like, immediately like loaded up like 6 into the back and on top of it.
Well, Paul, after all the wrestling I watched in the last couple of weeks, and especially in the last weekend and past few days, I could definitely go for a drink. I'm a real endless survivor now, which brings us to the first show we're going to talk about. And that's right, it's Big Japan. And yes, we're going to get to all the big news, but we'll start very quickly with Big Japan Endless Survivor Beyond the Milestone from May 4th at Yokohama Budokan in front of 1,657 fans, which I think is a little down from last year. I think they had like 1,800. This show was not bad, but it was not last year's show.
Last year's show was like a match of the year contender.
Yeah,
show of the year contender with a match of the year contender. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I mean, in terms of matches that I enjoyed, honestly, I enjoyed the opener of Kaiji Tomato, Kazuki Hashimoto, and Kosuke Sato versus Shigehiro Irie, Zeke Andino, and Jacob Crane. It was really short but good action. Honestly, the TLC death match with Yankee 2 Kenju versus Abdullah Kobayashi and Daiju Wakamatsu wasn't bad. It was only 7 minutes, and they were just like killing each other. Definitely one of the better hardcore matches on the show. In terms of like getting really good, Takuya Nomura and Fuminori Abe, the astronauts versus Kazumasa Yoshida and Chikara Shoki, that was pretty good. Like legitimately good. Like I went like 3 3/4 on it, flirting with 4 stars. Very strong match. Obviously, like, great astronauts action, great closing stretch and everything like that. I'm going to bring up Daisuke Sekimoto, Yasufumi Nakanui, and Ryota Hama versus Sota Manji, Tempesta, and Tyson Maddox. And the Big Japan team beat the Project Havoc team. Man, Tempesta is a waste of space. What a boring guy.
Yeah, fun fact, I said this in the Discord already. Tempesta was in the first match on the first show I ever went to live, where he teamed with his brother, Bobby Guns. And there's a reason why Bobby Guns is still like a staple in WXW and is like a former champion and everything. And Tempesta didn't make it much further beyond where I watched him like quite a few years ago at this point.
Yeah, that was my first time seeing Tempesta doing a bit of a demolition tribute with the leather like straps on his chest. It's also the first time I saw Tyson Maddox. He's 38 years old, but has actually only been wrestling for 7 years. But I mean, he's got a good look and he's got a great vertical leap, even if he looks a little green in some other ways. So I will give something to him of certain level of potential, but Tempesta,
no, there's nothing there. There's never really had anything been there.
Yeah. Now this Big Japan Junior Heavyweight title match of the show, Kota Sekafuda defeated Ender Kara in 1631 with the Oblonga, and Sekafuda regains the title that he lost at last year's Endless Survivor. This is just a great match. I went 4 1/4. I mean, Kara is awesome now.
Yes. He's always, like, to me at least, well, to be fair, because I've seen him on the European scene, he's a guy that has always been great, and I think he's only become better by being in Japan.
I mean, Sekafuda is great, but Kara really led this match. I mean, he was leading like the big moves, trying to use submissions and everything like that, and it was like a lot of Sekafuda comebacks, and I just thought this was the match of the show, no question.
It's also like the only thing I've really seen from the show was like a gif of Sekafuda giving a just hellacious headbutt to Ender Kara.
Yeah.
Not the worst headbutt we're going to talk about on the show, but still pretty massive one.
Yeah, definitely. And then after that, I'm just going to mention it. Well, these are the top matches, so I'll mention them all. Big Japan Tag Team Title Street Fight Deathmatch, Masashi Takeda and Takumi Tsukamoto defeated Man Pondo and Dale Patricks. In 12:36 was a reverse U Crash Kai from Takeda on Patricks. Pondo is just utterly washed, like a middle-aged chubby guy using weapons and everything like that. But honestly, the last couple of minutes here between Patricks, who had never seen before, and Takeda was actually not bad. So that's sort of saved the match from just being whatever. But again, I don't think you have to go rush out to watch this match. The deathmatch semi-main event, deathmatch title in the barbed wire tribulation deathmatch. Hideyoshi Kamitani defeated Ryuji Ito in 22-22 to retain the title with a backdrop suplex. It was fine. Just Ito is kind of washed, and they spent a lot of time just setting stuff up and lying around. But it certainly wasn't the worst match I've ever seen or anything like that, like average, like 2.5 stars type thing.
I was actually afraid they were going to put the belt back on Ito here because, like, Big Japan just can't resist putting the deathmatch title on Ito, despite the fact that he just hasn't been good for like a long time now.
Yeah. And then in the main event for the Big Japan Strong World Heavyweight title, Yuya Aoki defeated Daichi Hashimoto in 25 minutes with a Kesagiri chop. This certainly wasn't last year's main event. And it was good, but not great. I went 3 3/4. Good build. Okay finishing sequence. But man, Hashimoto just is a charisma void.
Oh, yeah. I'm really surprised actually when I saw the results that Aoki actually retained. Because that means he will now have the second longest reign with the strong title.
Mm-hmm. So, other than yes, there were several matches I enjoyed on this show, but the only must-watch match is the junior title match, I thought. So, your mileage may vary, but really, if you skip the entrances and everything, this isn't a hard show to watch. If you're watching a recording of it and everything like that. So don't let the 4.5 hour runtime on the video file
it's not actually that long.
Scare you, because there's also an intermission and everything like that too. So,
okay.
And the undercard matches aren't very long either. I don't think, strangely enough, other than the deathmatch title, I don't think anything went too long. Right? Because that tag title match was only 12.5 minutes. The junior title match was 16:31, but that was, perfectly a good amount of time and everything like that.
I don't know if I want to watch 22 minutes of 2024 Ryuji Ito.
I mean, I don't think the main event dragged by any means, but man, you could have maybe tightened it up and had a more, I don't know, interesting closing stretch or something for the strong title. But anyway, and then I'm going to jump real quick, and I just finished watching this show not too long ago. King of DDT 20th anniversary first round from May 5th at Corkin Hall in front of 1,025 fans, which DDT is claiming is a no vacancy.
I mean, that had to be a very creative setup for them to claim that as a no vacancy.
It was just a normal setup.
Okay, well, never mind.
Okay, so quick.
Well, I guess then that means All Japan broke the fire code a couple of days ago.
Yes. So first round match, Mao defeated Poison Squad at Julie in 9 minutes and 16 seconds with a kick. This was Julie doing magic, and then Mao playing along. Your mileage may vary on this. Certainly not the worst, in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of a lot of DDT comedy, but it actually wasn't that bad, all things considered. Toy defeated Cannon in 11 minutes and 9 seconds with the Frankensteiner. I thought this was actually a solid little match, all things considered. I know there's people down on Cannon, but when he's not doing the damnation shtick, I actually think there's something there, and he can develop into a good wrestler. Then Shanshiro Takagi defeated Yuki Ueno in 11:09 with the Stone Cold Stunner. This might have been the surprise of the show. This was really great. Takagi tried his damnness. Ueno was out here selling, and there was an incredible reversal spot from a stunner where Takagi's got him down in the stunner, and then somehow Ueno flips forward out of the stunner. It just looked incredible.
The Rikishi bump. No, wait, Rikishi did that on a lariat. Never mind. Yeah.
No, I don't even. It's not the rock bump on it. It's just he goes forward over the shoulder and lands on his feet. It's crazy.
Ooh,
but that was a great match, and you could argue it was the match of the show. Actually,
I was surprised that they eliminated Ueno in the first round.
Yep. But whatever. I mean, they're probably going to do something with Takagi and Ueno later. And then next match, Daisuke Sasaki. That's next. Daisuke Sasaki defeated Yuki Ino in 11:15 with a standing crossover face lock. Well, Ino tried, but this is a Daisuke Sasaki match, so It was what it was. It wasn't horrible, but just average. Kazusada Higuchi defeated Yukio Naya in 14 minutes and 12 seconds with the Buchi Kamashitai. Solid, but not great. I maybe had a slightly higher expectations going into this, but they did hit each other really hard. So it's sort of worth a watch from that regard. Shuji Ishikawa defeated Hiroshima in 13:58 with the Giant Slam. This was pretty good. Definitely could have flirted with the best match of the show. Hiroshima kicked out of a shit ton of moves in this match and made some fiery comebacks, very David versus Goliath, big man versus smaller guy style. But two great wrestlers doing their thing, and it was really strong. And I thought Ishikawa has looked really good since he's left All Japan.
Important question. Yeah. Did he have the JHC hardcore title with him?
He didn't. But Ninja Mac doesn't seem to carry around that either.
Fair. I think that title literally does not exist outside of Monday Magic.
It might not, actually. And then next up, Tetsuya Endo versus Danshuko Dino. Defeated Danshuko Dino in 1826 with the burning mating press. Paul, don't Google that.
No, I have a decent feeling. Yes, no. Yeah.
So
nobody Googled that.
This was a Burning Star press on top of a face down naked Dino. Oh, and Endo was in a thong because his trunks got torn off during the match as well. So you kind of figure out where this was.
Match. Yeah.
Yeah, and Makoto Oishio also interfered.
Yeah, I mean, I did see that Despy booked the Pheromones versus House of Torture.
Yeah, Desperado came out after the match while Dino was lying naked in the middle of the ring, and Oishi was like putting his trunks back on him for him and everything like that. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, apart from the Dino comedy, the only problem with this is it went too long. Like you could have told the story in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then in the main event, Chris Brooks defeated Takeshi Masada in 1553 with the Praying Mantis Bomb. Another strong match. I'm not sure. I would say definitely third strongest match of the show. This was a great veteran versus rookie match. Brooks dominated, but he also gave Masada key stuff at the right time and finished him off. So very strong. And overall, given its DDT and there was stuff that you would expect, I thought this was actually a very solid opening round.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. I mean, I might check it out because I have more time now than I have had over the last month where I worked approximately 200 hours. So I actually have time to do some bit of catch up now.
Okay, so let's fast forward. Rewind back.
Yeah, I was about to say, going way back
let's
now.
Dive into Pro Wrestling Noah Monday Magic Season 2 episode final. And we're gonna just go over these matches real quick. And we got to talk about GHC Tag Team title. Jack Morrison and Anthony Green defeated Masaki Mochizuki and Tatsumi Yokosuka in 10:46 with the cradle from Green on Mochizuki to make their 7th successful defense of the GHC Tag Team titles. And this was a pretty darn good match.
Yeah. It started off with Mochizuki and Yokosuka coming out in the Metal Warrior outfits with the Blood Warriors theme, which I popped huge for. Now, Mike Spears immediately pointed out that neither of these men were ever in Blood Warriors. So that's a bit of a fact. But yeah, otherwise they did the twin magic, Metal Warrior spot where they were going around in circles and everything, and the ref getting confused who's who. But then, so there was a lot of shtick early on, but then once, basically after Susumu and Mochizuki got fed up with the masks and just took them off and just wrestled them a match, it became really, really good. And you could also see that both Green and Morris were really, really happy to be in the ring with these two. And I think especially Morris afterwards was just a bit starstruck when he basically after Green pinned Mochizuki, I think Morris basically was a bit starstruck and was almost bowing down to them, not trying not too much to break character essentially.
Yeah. And then
great match.
Oh yeah, definitely. Finally a much better open challenge, and they would
for sure.
GHC heavyweight title number 1 contendership. Kaito Kiyomiya defeated Jake Lee in 1956 with the modified Shining Wizard. Definitely one of Jake's best matches in Noah, and of course that's because Kaito was in this match, and I thought this was a little meandering at first, but I thought it finished strong.
Yeah, and it was also much better than the match they had basically exactly a year ago.
Yeah,
because I would say that is one of the worst main events either man has had.
Yep.
Right, because as much as we kind of poo-poo Jake, I think his title reign in terms of match quality was actually pretty decent, and the weakest match out of all of them was the one he won it on against Kaito, and then out of Kaito as well, where I don't know if he was legitimately shoot in a funk or not. He just didn't seem up to the task a year ago. And then this time, yeah, it was a lot better. Like it's not a match I would put on any like match of the year list, but I enjoyed it a lot more than the one last year. And obviously the correct choice to have Kaito win here as well.
Absolutely. And I'm going to quickly dive into the show Sunny Voyage 2024 on April 26th at Bandajima Multipurpose Plaza. First of all, Shuhei Taniguchi and Uka Sasaki had a time limit draw of 15 minutes. I actually thought this was a solid match because, I enjoyed the mat work and then they stiffed each other. And Sasaki here was seemingly working a little stiffer than he does with some of the other wrestlers sometimes against
Interesting
Taniguchi.
That Taniguchi seems to be the guy he can't beat in a singles match.
Yeah. Well, we're building to something.
Yeah.
And then this also had Keno versus Ryohei Oiwa. Just went. He defeated him in 9:58, just under 10 minutes. I mean, this is a very good match. But at that length, you're also wanting more between these two. But I still suggest checking that out. It's a very good match. And then the main event, 2 out of 3 falls 10-man tag match. GLG, Anthony Green, Jack Morris, Jake Lee, Tadasuke, and Yohei defeated Akitoshi Saito, Atsushi Katoge, Go Shiozaki, Hiroki, and Mohamed Yonhei in 21:02. Jack Morris pinned Katoge in 9:53. Hiroki pinned Yohei, and then at like 5 minutes and 55 seconds later, and then 5 minutes and 14 seconds later, Jake Lee pinned Yonhei. I also thought that was a very solid all-action main event. I don't think you have to go out of your way to watch the matches from this show, but I enjoyed them. I didn't watch this whole show. Well, actually, that's not true. I watched also Naomichi Marufuji and Takashi Sugera defeating Daiki Inaba and Masa Kitami in 14:24, and that was actually a really good match too. But it's not essential viewing, but it was some solid stuff. And I think that Noah doing these spot shows that are a little more interesting is actually a good thing for them. It shows that they're picking up momentum.
Yes, for sure. I think like the floor for like at least like the heavyweights in Noah is pretty high at the moment, I would say.
Yeah. And then we go on the 27th, the day later, to Yokohama Radiant Hall for Limit Break in front of 314 fans. Yoshitatsu defeated Yu Owada in 11:53 with the crab. I mean, Owada looked good. I'll give him that. It showed his usual fire. Atsushi Katoge and Black Mensa Ray defeated Jun Akiyama and Rukia in 14:32 when Katoge used the kill switch on Rukia. A very solid match, and this continued the Katoge and Akiyama stuff.
Yeah, which that might be one of my favorite feuds at the moment.
Yeah. And then Tetsuya Endo defeated Hiroki in 15:24 with a Burning Star Press. I'll just say this went too long, but it wasn't bad. Like if they had done like 10 minutes, this would have been a perfectly good match. Solid match.
I mean, it almost seems like a waste of a Tetsuya Endo like singles match.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not. But it's like at Yokohama Radiant Hall. You're not going to.
Yeah.
And then we had Go Shiozaki, Kazuyuki Fujita, and Mohamed Yonhei versus Shuji Ishikawa, Yuki Ino, and Yuki Onaya, and they went to a 20-minute draw. And I thought this is good for the most part. I liked just seeing like Fujita and Ishikawa in there together and everything like that.
Yeah, which I'm not sure. Have we actually ever seen them in the ring together before?
Sorry, and then it ended up being the Shiozaki, Fujita, and Yone beating Ishikawa, Ino, and Naya in another 441 when Shiozaki used the go on lariat on Ino because they did the time extension. So that was the result of that match. So I was like, wait, that doesn't sound right. So yeah, that brought some closure. Very strong match. I really like the stuff between Ino and Shiozaki as well. Fujita and Ishikawa in the ring together. Were they in the ring on the Tenru retirement show? Or was that was Suwama, I know, but was Ishikawa in that match?
Yeah, that would, like, again, if they ever were, it had to be like that kind of show, right? Where it's just like a bunch of different people coming together. Because like they have never been together in the same promotion at the same time. Well, obviously not, but yeah.
So, and then in the main event for the World Heavyweight title, Akitoshi Saito defeated Satsuki Nagao in 15:31 with a sickle of death. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being harsh, but I thought this was just a little dry, pretty average. I know Nagao is young, but I don't really see. I mean, he's perfectly fine, but I don't really see like high level potential or anything in him. I mean, it's 0-1 or real 0-1, but I mean, what do you sort of expect? But I don't think there's that much there.
No, he seems solid enough, but yeah, again, not someone where I could see a bigger promotion really trying to go after him to get him on the roster. Like again, I feel like he's gonna be able to carve himself out a career in wrestling, but yeah, I don't know. I also don't see a lot there for now.
And then we move on to Wrestle Magic on May 4th at Tokyo Ryogoku Kokugen Sumo Hall in front of 3,512 fans. That number, I think it's decent. What would you say?
Yeah, I would say it's acceptable. Like, obviously, you want a lot more people when you do a Sumo Hall show, and it was pretty much like a Void show again, where they kind of really, really darkened the arena. Yeah. From what little you could make out, it looked like the floor was pretty full.
Yeah, it didn't look empty when you could see it, sort of.
Yeah, I would assume that there were like less people in the upper floors. But I mean, what I will say, it's a massive improvement over the number they did there last year for the show, or not for this show, but for the Sumo Hall show last year, where I think they did 2,700 for that. So that's obviously a massive improvement, and it's also they drew that number with like, I mean, I guess you could technically count the Marigold as like external help. But otherwise, it's also been a long time since they've drawn this kind of number without like a lot of external help. So I think it's good that they drew that number by themselves. You would want more, but at least it's up, and at least they did it like on their own power, essentially.
Yeah. And then I watched the show live, and I thought that was worth it, even though I was like up till 7:30 in the morning. I don't think my fiance appreciated me crawling into bed at 7:30 a.m., but whatever.
I can't imagine.
Because it started at 3, it was 4.5 hour show. But you know what, Paul? I think this is one of the best shows of the year so far.
Yeah. No, I agree. I thought this was really, really good top to bottom. I don't think there was really anything that I would say that I disliked on the show.
No, there was nothing too bad. And then first up, so GAC Hardcore title, and the title did make an appearance in this match. Shuji Shikawa defeated Ninja Mac in 10:05 with the Splash Mountain. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect, but I thought they played it well, and I thought that they worked the size differentials good, and they just sort of threw the chairs and ladders and shit at each other because they didn't spend a long time standing around setting stuff up. And I just thought that, it was a really good hardcore match.
Yeah. I mean, they only got 10 minutes and it was the opener, but it got the crowd into it as well.
Yeah.
And I actually like the story because you could have very easily just told the story of just like Shoji is just like beating him down, Liz just beating Ninja Mac down, and then like
Mac
maybe Ninja Mac gets like, and then Ninja Mac gets a little bit of but that's not what they did at all. And actually the story that they told at the end was like Ninja Mac got too cocky and that cost him the match. I thought that was a much more interesting story to tell.
Yeah, it was Ishikawa's been in his fair share of just throwing a guy around for 90% of the match. So this is definitely different. Next up, and then Future Creation, Titus Alexander and Starboy Charlie defeated Ryohei Oiwa and Daiki Inaba in 6 minutes and 35 seconds with the 450 splash from Charlie on Inaba. I mean, that's a big upset. And
we're really dropping out Inaba to juniors now.
Yeah, because Charlie's going to challenge for the junior title. Spoiler alert. But I thought this was solid. And I know that people clown on Charlie for his look, but I mean, he's developing into a pretty good wrestler.
Yes, no, I mean, obviously, he also has that kind of like Joshi thing where he's like 21 but has 9 years of experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he is becoming a lot better. But look, it's so awful. It's so bad. I get that he is a very talented wrestler, and he will change up his look at some point. I mean, he'd better, because like, oh my God. It's literally like, I'd rather if he looked like Hayata. It's all I'd say.
And I mean, and Titus looked great here too.
Oh yeah, no, Titus is great. He's really like a guy. Like,
since we're not gonna devote any like actual time to it. Just, did you see the announcement today about Fortune Dream?
Yes, actually, I saw that one.
So we've got Sugataka Sato, El Lindemann, and Yuma Anzai versus Hayato Tamura, Yuma Aoyagi, and Titus Alexander. So that could be awesome.
Yeah, and it's interesting that they're putting him in that kind of match. Like, that tells me that, like, people that have a lot of influence, see something in Japan, see something special in him as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Because otherwise you don't book him in a match with, like, otherwise you're not getting booked as the only foreigner, like, with this level of guys, like with literally the Triple Crown champion.
Yeah, exactly. And then Unleashed Game, Masa Kinomiya defeated Takashi Sugiura in 9:57 with the diving senton. This was one of those unannounced matches, like the previous match, but I was like, ooh, when I saw this, and it delivered. They just beat the crap out of each other for 10 minutes, and Kinomiya did the headbutt and bled. It was awesome.
That headbutt was so nice. I'm not sure if that headbutt or the headbutt he did with the prison lock one was worse. I think the prison one lock was still worse because they where I legit wasn't sure if like Sugiura was selling that it was a knockout or if it was just an actual knockout. Right. But yeah, this one was nasty as well. But like Kitamiya just immediately starts gushing blood as well. And no, I mean, it's exactly what you would want out of a sub 10-minute match between these two guys, just nonstop, just laying into each other. Yeah, great stuff.
Exactly. We'll talk about a match that Kinomiya was announced for coming up in a minute, but I think Kinomiya is challenging Kaito soon.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a perfect like challenger for Kaito.
Yeah. Historical legacy. Akira Hayata and Eita defeated Hitoshi Kumano, returning after nearly 4 years. Junta Miyawaki and Yu Owada when Akira used the Musasabi press on Owada. Paul, this exceeded my expectations when I saw Akira and out there in Hayata. Akira actually is still pretty decent, even though he sort of looks
that was going to be my hot take.
Even though he looks like he's got old man, but he's still jacked, but he's like old man jacked.
Yeah.
Oh, he's 58. He's
58.
But he's actually younger than I thought. I thought he was like 62 or something. But I mean, he's still in incredible shape, and he can still he like when he walks to the ring, you're like but then he like gets in there and he's like can actually move.
Yeah.
So and Kumano looked pretty good for a guy that hasn't wrestled in almost 4 years.
I will say I think Akira actually was the guy on his team that looked the best.
Well, he did the most.
Yeah, that's the thing. He did the most. Eita and Hayata were just kind of like, I don't know, this is the fourth match. I don't really give a shit. And then Akira is like doing most of the like high flying in the match. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah. Paul, did you see anything about if Kumano's coming back?
I haven't seen anything else, but I mean, if he's back here, I mean, maybe that's a sign he will come back now.
They could use him actually.
Yeah, definitely.
And I thought bodies. And I think he looked, especially in the junior division, and I thought he looked solid considering how long he's been out.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see if this is like, I mean, I don't know. I would feel like maybe they would have made a bit more of a big thing about it if this was like a one-time thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they were like, oh, this is his actual like goodbye now. So maybe this is like, maybe he is back.
Yeah.
Permanently.
Maybe he got a decent job or something and doesn't want to necessarily leave it.
Yeah, I mean, but if he's like a weekend warrior, you can at least bring him in for like limit break shows or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. And then GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Title Survival 3-Way match. I forgot this was a survival match until it started. Yohei and Tadasuke defeated Shuji Kondo and Brother Yashi, who was the least surprising X ever.
Yes.
I mean, multiple people pegged Brother Yashi for this one. And then Dragon Bane and Awful Wolf in 1243 for their sixth defense. So Yohei pinned Yashi with the drop kick in 6 minutes and 11 seconds, getting that elimination. And then Yohei defeated Wolf with the jackknife hold in 1243. And I mean, Yashi did his shtick, but once Kondo and Yashi left, this match just went insane.
Yeah. I mean, I will say Yashi was also like the least over guy in the match as well.
Of course.
Nobody really reacted to his entrance rap either.
No.
But yeah, no, once he was out, yeah, like the last half of the match, awesome. Basically, that was awesome. Just,
I mean, you put it up there. I mean, that last half of the match is like as good as almost anything else on the show.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like these two teams just have that great chemistry.
Yeah.
Where like whatever they do, it's just absolutely nuts. And
I guess I'm not that surprised that they retain, but I'm also somewhat surprised that Los Scopadores didn't win the titles either.
Yeah, I really could have seen either result on this one, but I mean, look, again, it's one of those things, right? You can't go wrong with either team, so it's a bit of a luxury you have there.
Special singles match. Keno defeated, and the guy with the animal mask was not Hokuto Omori, but it was Yamato. And he defeated Yamato in 15:50 with the PFS. Paul, can I say that I thought this was a little dry?
Oh, I mean, it was a Yamato singles match. Of course it was.
Yeah, I know. It did not hold my attention. This was the first match of the show where I was like, am I getting a little tired? Am I going to be able to make it? But, I mean, there's some decent action sequences and everything like that, but it was sort of dry in the end. Had decent heat.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was a bit disappointed with it being Yamato, because it doesn't really make sense, right? Like, it's why is Yamato the big surprise? Like, why was Yamato sending in messages with animal masks? If it actually had been like a jump or like anyone that was like completely on left field, but we know that we know that Noah and Dragon Gate work together. So like a Dragon Gate guy popping up isn't that much of a shocker.
No.
And and the match not being that great didn't help either.
And then next up, GHC Martial Arts Rules. Uka Sasaki and Kazushi Sakuraba defeated Hikaru Sato and Shuhei Taniguchi in 11 minutes and 13 seconds with the TKO with the high kick from Sasaki and Taniguchi. Okay, I think your mileage may vary on this match. I generally enjoyed it. I generally also enjoyed the last 2 minutes, and I love the finish of this, where like Taniguchi just like sort of errantly runs into a Sasaki high kick.
Yeah. I actually really like this one, and like when they did the Sasaki Sakuraba team, I was like, oh yeah, no, that obviously makes perfect sense.
Oh yeah, well, I was happy to see.
I think that's an awesome team.
I was happy to see Sato and Sasaki mix it up too.
Yes, that is a good one too. And I mean, hey, we're gonna get more of Sasaki and Sato as well.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward. I mean, we're gonna talk about it a little later, but that's something I'm really looking forward to.
Is Sato gonna end up jumping?
I mean, it would be a loss for All Japan, but at this point, the junior division could actually
use like
it wouldn't devastate it like it would have been over the last 10 years.
If you go back to like 2019, it would have been devastating.
No, it's like we have Ultimo Dragon, Tajiri, and Yohei Nakajima. Yeah.
I think he's loyal to Suwama though, so
yeah,
that's probably the thing.
I mean, he is a freelancer technically, so
he is technically. But they said they mentioned All Japan several times on the comment, like the Japanese commentary even. So he's still
that's where he's worked. I mean, yes, I mean that's where he's worked for again, more than 10 years at this point as his regular main promotion.
Mm-hmm. And then next up, probably the most anticipated match on the show, super female legend Julia Utami Hayashishida, Mirai, and Mei Sakurai defeated Nagise Nozaki, Great Suzuya, Miyuki Takase, and Takumi Aroha in 1817 when Julia used the Northern Lights bomb on Nozaki, which is sort of like the finish that I expected. I thought Julia was going to pin Nozaki. This was awesome. And they didn't do anything. I mean, there was obviously a missed spot and everything here, but they did not do stupid stuff with Great Sakuya. And as a result, she looked like way more of a badass than she has before.
Yeah. I mean, I really hope that we're slowly but surely transitioning to getting more this kind of stuff out of the Great Sakuya.
Yeah.
Because she's a good wrestler. So if we just kind of drop the shtick back to I don't know, a 4 instead of a 10, I think there's something there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah. I mean, I liked the match well enough. I didn't find a blowaway. I mean,
I wouldn't say blowaway, but I went 4 stars.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't quite get there, but I mean, obviously, it was also very much a kind of showcase as well for the Marigold girls, so that they could hype up their show coming up. That one's tomorrow, or is that on the weekend?
May 20th.
May 20th? It's that far away.
I think.
I mean, it's sold out anyway, so it's whatever.
Yeah. So also, I thought the highlight was Hayashi Shida versus Aroha. And in fact, I think that Aroha might have been the best looking wrestler in this match in terms of like just how hard she went with this.
I mean, fair enough. What I'm curious about actually as well is which of these on the other side is gonna pop up in Marigold at some point.
People are predicting Nozaki. Isn't Nozaki on the first show now? I think.
I don't know the card, but I mean, it would make a ton of sense.
I think it is. She is on the first show. I am positive. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, because I think it's like, isn't it Julia and Hayashi Shida versus Sari and no, it's Sari and Bozilla.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Nozaki's on that card. But anyway, yeah. So she's probably going to be the person that basically takes over as the sort of Noah Marigold conduit crossover person.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And then reunion point. Jake Lee and Tajiri defeated Naomichi Marufuji and Hajime Ohara in 1040 with the buzzsaw kick from Tajiri on Ohara. I love it that Tajiri had to get the win here when I thought Jake would or something.
Nope.
I wrote.
We don't need to build up Jake for his match with Tetsuya Naito. Tajiri needs that win.
As soon as I saw this Tajiri come out, I wrote "Oh fuck off" in the in the Voice of Wrestling Discord because I just like, oh come on. And Tajiri has now gone in with his natural hair color.
Yeah, that was really off-putting.
I mean, it was fine, just a little dry. Probably the weakest match on the card, but certainly not bad.
No, it definitely wasn't bad, but I mean, it very much was a like Tajiri match in 2024, which that's just. I mean, he's been washed for like I don't know, like 7 years now at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and he's really just getting by on a stick, and that's really all he did here as well. And I like the stuff. I like some of the stuff that Jake and Marufuji did, but otherwise there wasn't a whole lot here. I also agree, not a bad match, but definitely the weakest one on the show.
Yeah. And then next up, JC Junior Heavyweight title. Daga defeated Alejandro in 11:39 with the Diablo Wings for his 6th defense. And I thought this was pretty darn good, and I actually expected it to be good. I have raised my expectations on Daga matches, actually.
Fair.
And yeah, I mean they did some like lucha-ish stuff and high flying and fast, high impact finishing sequence and everything, and it was really good. And then some mysterious masked man carried Alejandro to the back.
Yeah, which I mean, do we want to talk about that now, or do we want to talk about that when we talk about the faction?
We'll talk about it through the main event, but yeah, I mean, I think we all know who this is, right?
Yeah, I think it's fair. What I was surprised about it that there weren't more people that knew that Kai Fujimura and Alejandro are brothers.
Oh, okay.
That was just a thing people knew.
Yeah.
No, but yes, it's very likely going to be Kai Fujimura, who is Alejandro's brother.
And what's his name? Like Zagan or something?
No, it's Cristobal.
Oh, that's the name?
Yeah, Cristobal.
Oh, okay. I was just going off his shirt saying like Ezegan or something.
Yeah, but that's a sponsor of Noah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But the name they announced for like the shows that like he's announced for, it's Cristobal. Okay. And I also need to say I also really like this match. I might not necessarily be just ready yet to raise my floor and Daga matches, but it definitely also exceeded my expectations. Like this was just really great action, just a lot of good high flying, and yeah, no, I think I went 4 on this one.
And then next up, Jack Morris, or GHC Tag Team Title Open Challenge. Jack Morris and Anthony Green defeated Hiroshi Tanzan and Satoshi Kojima in 14 minutes and 5 seconds with a shooting star press from Morris on Kojima for their 6th defense. Paul, I got this right. I called it. Because when I realized that this was going to be in the semi-main event, I'm like, okay, well, it's got to be a team with some sort of name. It can't be like Mecha Mummies or like, I don't know, a DDT team even. No offense to DDT. It's got to be like a well-known team to be in the semi-main event of a Sumo Hall show. And lo and behold,
It was.
It was.
It was Tenkoji.
It was Tenkoji. And you know what, Paul? This
I
wasn't
saw
bad.
you basically, like, whenever anyone brought up, oh, I wonder what team that is, you were, like, basically just jumping into the Discord, being like, I think it's Tenkoji.
Of course. It had to. Like, at that spot on the card, anything would have been a disappointment unless it was, like, I don't know, Hiroshi Hase and Kensuke Sasaki or something.
Oh, God, man, that would have been awesome.
But you know what I mean? Like, who else could have
It's
spot?
Kawada and Kobashi.
Like, right? Like, what was the most realistic? There's no realistic alternative that you could have slotted into the semi-main event of Sumo.
Yeah, in the semi-main, like, yeah, it would have to have been a really big team. And, like, even, like, for example, let's say, for, like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to even think what would have been a team that would have, like, realistically have been able to show up, that would have, like, lived up to that standard. Because
Ento and Yuma. You know,
actually,
like,
I mean, if Yamato hadn't already been on the show, if Yamato had shown up, that would have worked.
Yeah.
But again, like, he had already Vessel, so that was not a possibility anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, look, I enjoyed this on an emotional level. Obviously, Tenzan is Tenzan, but you know, Morris and Kojima did some good stuff in the closing stretch, and Morris actually hit a beautiful spot on shooting star press, because his shooting star presses are sometimes a little shaky, but he nailed that one beautifully. So I will give this a thumbs up just because for the spectacle of it all. And Morris and Green seem genuinely moved to like face such legends.
I mean, I already talked about it for the last match where they were a little bit starstruck, but like they were like absolutely like I said, they like kind of managed to keep in character after the last match. They definitely did not after this one there, where they were just like, "Oh my god, we just beat Tenkoji! Oh my god!"
Yeah, exactly.
In Sumo Hall.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was really cool, and both of them were just like, and also Jack Morris being like, "Oh my god, I just beat Satoshi Kojima."
Exactly. Does he get an MLW title shot?
I mean, a lot of people have been talking about that. That actually would be a cool thing coming out of this.
And then in your main event for the GHC Heavyweight Championship, Kaito Kiyomiya defeated El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. in 24-45 with a modified Shining Wizard. And so Wagner fails in his second defense, and Kaito becomes the 45th champion and a 3-time GHC Heavyweight Champion. Paul, this was great, and this was definitely the match of the show. Probably somewhere on my top 10 of the year. It was just awesome. I mean, what exactly you would expect. No downtime, great work from both men. I mean, Wagner was also awesome, I thought, when he was on his controlling sequences. And Wagner might even have the best Shining Wizard in the business.
Yes, I think immediately what I said when he hit the Shining Wizard on Kaito was like, his Shining Wizard looks so much better than Kaito because it's just so much quicker and snappier than the one Kaito does.
Yeah.
Kaito does all of this like complicated setup stuff that like Wagner's just like understands the move, what the move is supposed to be inherently a lot better.
It's really supposed to be a surprise move.
Yes,
that was
exactly.
The original.
You're not supposed to know it's coming.
That was the original design, but now like it eventually. Well, and Muto was also responsible for this, but this, and so that's where Kaito gets it. It then became a big setup spot. Yeah, when early Muto Shining Wizard was like a surprise knee to the face, you know. But anyway, I mean, it was great, and Kaito got new gear. Look, I was a little skeptical, especially after that Korakuen number. If like the rehabbing of Kaito should have gone on longer, like should he be a tag team champion with Oiwa for 6 months or something like that? I feel a little better after this match because of how well it went and everything like that.
Also, Muto actually properly putting him over for once.
Yes.
Right? Like he put him over more in this post match than he did after any of the matches that they've had.
Yeah.
Because he like put the belt on him. Yeah, it was like he like tried to do his pose and like Kaito did his pose but better. And Muto was like, oh, hey kid, I guess you're better than me now. So yeah, no, I also thought this was awesome. It's definitely my favorite Noah match of the year so far. Also would rank this like relatively high on my match of the year list, at least so far. Not necessarily certain yet where I would go for a rating. Probably somewhere between like 4.5 and 4 3/4, to be honest.
I had 4.5.
4.5, yeah. Probably where I'm going to land on in the end as well. I'm probably going to rewatch it a bit before like the pay-per-view thing expires.
It'll go up eventually, like for free.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I thought this was awesome. I thought this was the right decision to put it on Kaito, and seems like we're going full steam ahead with Kaito, but we're going to talk about that in a bit.
Well, yeah, no, let's talk about the Kaito faction now.
Okay, fair enough.
So we got Kaito, we got Keno, and the Fujiwara brothers, Alejandro and Cristobal. And is that it? Is there anyone else?
No, that's the 4 that we have, at least so far. I mean, we'll see if there's anyone else joining, because I could see because Oiva, for example, if he's still sticking around, like, because otherwise he seems kind of like lost in the shuffle otherwise.
Yeah. What's the name of the faction again now? I missed that.
It's All Rebellion.
Okay.
Because that's what I think of when I think of Kaito Kiyomiya, Rebellion.
Yes, he's definitely rebelling. No, he's like he's doing what he's told.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like literally least like it makes sense for Keno. That makes perfect sense. And like in a way for Alejandro as well. Because he was in Congo.
Have you seen The Simpsons? It's on The Simpsons when they go to Canada and there's some guy spray painting like "Obey the rules."
Yeah, that's Kaito. Yes, absolutely. I mean, okay, but it's long overdue. Kaito has needed a faction like really badly for a really long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, this gives like he has been showing a lot more edge recently. I mean, as much as we like just dunked on him, but yeah, like at least in ring he has shown a lot more edge recently. And this like gives him some like people to like do stuff with, like tell some stories, feud with some other factions and everything. And yeah, it gives him some energy that is needed. And there's some other stuff that like he needs this faction for, as we're gonna talk about in a bit as well.
Yep.
After we talk about a show that neither of us have seen. We live in the wrong countries.
So and then so the full card, I didn't realize this, but the full card for One Night Dream on May 22nd is out. So we got Uka Sasaki versus Hikaru Sato. That should be awesome.
Yeah, I have unreasonably high expectations for that.
We got Jack Morris, Anthony Green, LJ Cleary, and Yohei versus Ryohei Oiwa, Daiki Inaba, Junta Miyawaki, and Yu Owada. We got Takumi Iroha and Miyuki Takase versus Great Sakuya and Brooke Havoc. I've never seen Brooke Havoc. We got Kaito Kiyomiya and Alejandro versus Titus Alexander and Starboard Charlie. That could be great.
That's actually 2 people, if they want to stick around for longer, put them in the Kaito faction.
For sure. And then we got Masa Kitamiya versus Tomohiro Ishii, the rematch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Kaito is getting his win back, and I think that's just further building to what I think is a challenge.
For his title match,
Yeah. And then we got GLG versus LIJ, Jake Lee and Tadasuke versus Tetsuya Naito and Shingo Takagi. Paul, who do you think's losing?
Yeah, I don't. Okay, so if you have not seen the poster, and I have already dunked on this in both the Voice of Wrestling Slack and the Discord, is the Voice of Wrestling Discord is Tadasuke's look, like the look on Tadasuke's face on the poster, is very much the look of a man that knows he's getting pinned in this match.
Yep.
Like he basically has the look on his face that a man has before he gets hit with a pumping bomber by Shingo Takagi.
Yeah, for sure. And then main event, Keno versus Minoru Suzuki, which is your not quite Kento Miyahara versus Katsuhiko Nakajima of last year's One Night Dream.
No, is there history there that I don't know about?
No, it's just like something that's never really happened.
Okay, fair enough.
Or maybe
I was like, because Right Dead was the draw for the one last year, and I was like, has this? I guess maybe they've been in a ring before, but again, I was like struggling to think if there's some sort of like angle similar to Nakajima and Kento, but yeah, it seems like it was just like, here's a cool match that has never happened before, which fair enough.
I mean, Keno was a junior last time Suzuki was in the company, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's my other thing. Yeah,
it's just a match to throw together at a Corkin Hall that's like got some heft to it, I suppose.
Yeah,
but whatever. I don't know
we'll see how it draws. Yeah,
let's see how hard Suzuki wants to work it for this too. I assume.
Yeah,
Keno
I don't
would,
think it will draw the same number that the last one did. But again, like you can't match that energy.
You got a stronger undercard.
Yeah, no, the card is actually, yes, fair enough. Yeah, because that one was a one match show, and this one has a pretty good undercard, so they should still draw a decent number. But I don't think. Okay, let's say it will at least be a DDT no vacancy, and I could actually see them get close to the number All Japan drew for the
I could
Block A
definitely see
finals.
that for sure. And then we've got Limit Break 3, the Go Shiozaki 20th anniversary show at Corkin Hall on June 19th. We got Kazusada Higuchi versus Kazuyuki Fujita, and I believe that is all that's been announced for that show so far. Poor Fujita.
Do they not have because after the 0-1 title match, didn't Saito challenge Go basically?
Yeah, but I don't know where that's happening.
Oh, okay. Because again, I'm surprised they didn't announce it for this show because it just makes sense, I guess. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. And of course, I guess we'll just say it now because we're on Noah previews, but we've got Starboard Charlie versus Daga and Kaito Kiyomiya versus Gabe Kidd for the GHC heavyweight title on Sunday, June 16th at Yokohama Buntai, where Noah makes their debut into the new venue in Yokohama.
I mean, I'm looking forward to Kaito versus Gabe.
Yeah.
Because their matches so far have been absolutely awesome.
Yeah. So all together, we have, I didn't see it, obviously. None of us live where the...
Look, not to dox ourselves, but we do not live in South Korea, the Philippines, Thailand, or the United States of America, so we're just shit out of luck.
Yeah. Anyway, the big news is Jake Lee pinned Naito. And of course Jake showed up in New Japan and was in that elimination match as well. So the point is, what do you feel about Jake Lee in New Japan feuding with LIJ?
I mean, it puts an end to a lot of our memes, which I don't like. But because he might actually make it into the G1 this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which just kills that joke dead. Otherwise, I mean,
Paul, we'll hold a celebration if he gets in on the next episode.
What if he makes it out of the block?
It's not impossible. I don't.
Yeah, it just
especially if they're doing
semi-final with Naito,
semis or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're having a match in June at the All Together show in Sapporo.
Yeah.
Which also,
I think that's where they end this feud.
It's also politically interesting because that's the biggest match of the show, and that overshadows All Japan, who will be on that show.
Yeah, which, I mean, we'll get more into like what All Japan might be doing on that later because there was something that happened on one of the All Japan shows. Mm-hmm. I think there was also a lot of overreaction to Jake being in New Japan as well. Like, because it was kind of sold as like the end of the promotion, where it's like,
I think that Jake Lee. I'm going to be fair to Jake. I thought some of the negative reaction was a bit over the top, but I mean, my only one thing I will say, maybe somewhat negatively towards Jake, is that like when you put him against someone of Naito's charisma level, it is stark.
Oh God, no, that's just poor Jake. Is completely out of his depth here.
At the same time, given that this might be a cycle until June, it's fine. It could continue to the G1, but even if it doesn't, that's fine too, right? I
mean, you got to keep Naito busy until you like
may or may not win the title back.
Yeah, may or may not win the title back. So you got to do something with him. And the New Japan roster is a bit in the shitter right now, so you don't really have anyone. So I mean, these worse ideas that you could do than like again, it would be worse if you like do another like House of Torture feud with LIJ.
Exactly.
Like that would be less creative. So I don't mind them bringing in Jake here. Also, with Jake, like I said, he's a bit out of his depth here in terms of charisma. That's definitely will reflect negatively on him a bit, but I don't mind it overall. It's I think the best way I can see it.
And Kaito pinned Yuya Uemura in the main event.
Yeah. Because I don't know, like I'm not shocked about that. People were like, "Oh my god, Kaito did not lose a match," but like I don't know, he hasn't lost a match in like a long time now.
Yes,
not
I
a
know.
singles match at least.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's
People
definitely not taken the pin as well.
I mean,
in a long
this is
time now.
people that dip in and dip out and don't pay attention to how these things change, right?
Yeah.
They're still like 6 months behind. Oh, and also, well, Gabe Kidd stole the GHC title, and that's how that's.
Yeah, that's the most important thing here. Yeah. So yeah, and Gabe also like laid into like Kaito as well in a promo apparently. So
yeah,
like I said, their energy has been great. Again, like I said, Kaito has been showing a lot more like edge and everything. So again, like some of that has been very much when he has been like faced with Gabe Kidd, for example, like when they had their like double count out during the G1, which was one of my favorite matches from that year's G1, just like really awesome. And also, actually, just for quick to go back to Naito and Jake, one thing I just remembered, it's very curious that the idea New Japan took away from Noah's last year is that after your top champion loses to an outsider, you should have him feud with Jake Lee.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, Jake, like, it's funny because like Jake's the guy that you can offer up to do this because he's like got a certain level of star, but he's not like one of your top guys that you're going to protect too much. So I mean, he did get a big win over Naito, but he's going to lose to Naito in the end, type thing.
Exactly. Like that's the other thing. Like it's also why I'm like, look, this is literally just time filler. Like,
yeah,
it's fine.
Now we got to talk about this, what this Jake versus Naito match could look like, because it could be ugly. Like Jake is not a guy anymore. Not that he ever was, but like I don't like the style that he's evolved into. I prefer his older, like go back to 2019 before the heel turn style.
Yeah.
And Naito is just thrashed. I mean, he can still have a great match against the right worker, but that's not Jake Lee.
I mean, maybe what I will say to put a bit more of a hopeful spin on it. Is he gonna
bungle at doing a Destino to someone of Jake's height?
Oh yeah, actually, that might be a bit of an issue that I hadn't thought of. That might be difficult because he has trouble doing that for Sonata. I mean, what I will maybe offer up is a little bit of like a more hopeful take is that like him and Marufuji was very good.
Right.
Jake and Marufuji. So that makes me like a little bit more positive than him and Naito can pull it off. And it's also going to be in a really big spot too, right? So I just hope that, like I said, I think I agree that it could just fall apart really, really badly. And it could just be kind of a boring nothing match. And then Naito does a shitty Destino where like Jake basically has to lift him over like himself basically to do it.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I think what I'm going to do I'm going to try to watch this next All Together show live somehow.
Yeah, that should be a way somehow.
Because I want to see what All Japan does, and I want to see this Naito versus Jake match. Because that is interesting on so many levels.
Fair.
Okay, so finally, all right, it is time for All Japan. And we'll just start off with some bad news. Ryo Inoue has an MCL injury, but he says he's not getting surgery. So he could be back in 6 to 8 weeks at the latest.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not a tear. It's not a tear then.
Yeah, well, he's not getting surgery.
Okay. Oh, well, yeah. Let's see. I mean, he's young, so
yeah.
We'll see. Yeah.
So we covered the first show on our last episode, but we have every other block show to get through. So we're just going to talk about the good stuff. And to be fair, just a couple of opening thoughts. This was the best carnival, although that's a bit of a low bar, since 2019, I think, overall, actually.
Yeah, it's definitely the best one post-pandemic.
Absolutely.
Which is funny because, again, it fulfilled one of the promises from that 2020 proper carnival that we never got.
Yes, it did. Yes. Well, yeah, but we didn't get Sugera either.
Yeah.
So I thought there was nothing really, really bad. But we'll get to some of that stuff that maybe I wasn't so hot on later. But overall, I thought good, and I thought some of the biggest matches, most anticipated matches, did deliver. Okay, so on April 20th, 420, in Axe City, Hamamatsu, in front of 481 fans. Okay, let's talk about this. Yuma Aoyagi defeated Kuroshio Tokyo, Japan by count out in 11:44. Paul, you highlighted this one, so
yes.
You talked.
So this was actually my favorite like Jiro match, I think, during the entire carnival, because I think like Yuma just has these like great comedic chops. Like it was a comedy match, right?
Yes.
But I think it worked really well as a comedy match because whenever these two like are in the ring against each other or together, like Yuma brings out the jacket and everything, and like he actually almost does like Jiro's shtick better than Jiro does. And like you could see that it annoys Jiro as well, but like he was like doing his pose and everything, and Jiro like rolled out of the ring, and like people started actually booing him, and it really, really got to him. And then he like lost by count out and lost his jacket and everything, and he was just like devastated afterwards. So like it's not like a great match in terms of like really like the in-ring action or like the technical execution or whatever, but I really, really enjoyed it just from like it's a really good comedy match is what I would say.
Okay. And then other things I'll mention on the show, I really enjoyed Jun Saito versus Hideki. And June won, and everyone started talking about how Hideki was doing jobs. But I just like the way that Hideki like wrestled June. He was like struggling to do like his moves because of like June's size and everything. I just thought it played very well. And the main event was probably one of the weakest Kento singles matches I've seen in a while. Because it was Kento versus Hokuto Omori, you know. So
yeah, but also Hokuto Omori doing shtick as well.
Yeah,
not
just
Hokuto Omori.
But that's the main thing. I did not love Hokuto's tournament.
No, and I also didn't like that we didn't really get a proper payoff yet. Like I feel like we will eventually get one.
Well, we better, or it'll be even worse.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, you can't just have a random guy with a horse mask next to him and never ever reveal who it was.
Well, they never revealed who Devil Murasaki was.
I guess so.
Anyway, we move on.
Don't put that into my brain.
We move on to the 21st, the next day at Makuhari Messe International Exhibition Hall number 5 in front of 758 fans. Davey Boy Smith Jr. defeated, these are just the ones we highlighted. Davey Boy Smith Jr. defeated Shitaro Ashino in 13:05 with a Bulldog Bomb. Paul, I actually thought this was pretty good and the best Davey Boy match up to of the tournament up to that point. And really, I think one of the best Davey Boy matches in the whole tournament. There's only 2 others that you could really say, I think, were as good or maybe even better, depending on what you feel about it. But I thought it was a good match.
No, I agree. And like Ashino kind of like laid into him quite well. Like both of them laid into each other. And then that Bulldog Bomb was nasty that he did on Ashino.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, Davey Boy, a very solid wrestler. I thought some of his technical work throughout the tournament was actually pretty good. And he's obviously got some great looking power moves. He just doesn't he's less than the sum of his parts.
Yeah. I think we pointed it out like at the last episode, and it became apparent during the tournament.
Yeah, and it's just like, but like nothing was bad. Everything was like technically adequate, but it's just like I don't know. It's something.
I mean, I will say we'll get into it. I will say later probably again, but like he had his best singles match in its best non-blood sport singles match in this tournament.
Yes, yeah, I could definitely say that. And then Kento Miyahara defeated Yuma Aoyagi in 2015 with the shutdown storm and suplex hold. I know, Paul. I mean, I thought it was good, but it was like definitely a notch below what these two have usually done. One of their weaker singles match.
The reason I highlighted this was not because I really like this match, but more because I thought this was like basically the weakest singles match they've had.
Yeah.
Well, probably. Excluding, I guess, maybe Yuma's like debut match.
Well, that's different, but yes.
Yeah, exactly. So like in terms of like both of them being like high level guys, this was just, it was good because like the floor of these two is just really, really high.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I still flirted with 4 stars, but I still walked away.
Yeah, I
went
3 3/4. I went with 3 3/4.
Yeah.
And that's a disappointment.
Which for them is disappointing, which is insane, but still, it was still disappointing, but a really good match.
Yeah. And then in the main event, speaking of really good matches, in the main event, Ryuki Honda defeated Yuma Anzai in 21-13 with the final vent. I mean, this was awesome. This is the best match of the tournament up to this point.
Yep.
I think you could argue it was. Well, I probably would have this number 2 in my on my matches of the tournament. It just rocked, and I hope that they do something with this.
Yeah,
further down the line.
I will say I'm not sure if I will have it in number 2. I will definitely have it in a top 3 of the top 3, maybe top 4 of the tournament. I have to think about that. What I would actually like, how I would actually order some of these matches. But yeah, this was definitely the best match up until this point. The first really great match in the carnival. I went 4 on this one. Yeah, and yeah, I also really hope. Again, I'm very curious. Like, we can talk about it afterwards, but I'm really curious how they are going to book this Anzai reign going forward.
I think they set up several challengers in this tournament, and I don't think Honda is going to be the first. Actually,
no. I don't even know if we're going to get to all of the ones that they set up unless this reign is going a lot longer than I thought.
We'll see. But they also needed to give Honda some big wins because he didn't do very well in the end.
Yes, no, like giving him a win over, because I think like maybe he gets a challenge over this, but also him getting a pin on the Triple Crown champion and his tag team partner is like something he can do to keep him credible because he didn't do much otherwise.
Yep. Yeah, that was sort of like how I saw it. Oh, and also there was that Cyrus versus Jiro match that. Which fooled some people because they looked at the results and said it was 3-12, but then there was like, I don't know, almost 10 minutes of brawling outside before the match started.
Yeah, Joe ranted about that on the flagship.
Okay, I'm going to just say this here. I'm over Cyrus.
Yeah, he hasn't really developed.
He hasn't really, well, I don't know. Maybe he can, maybe he can't, but most of his singles matches are now all the same. His best matches in All Japan have all been tags.
Yeah.
So if you want to keep him as a tag wrestler, fine. But I just tired of him as a singles guy.
There's one guy that I think he has really good chemistry with, but also that's because of like the type of wrestler Cyrus is and the type of wrestler. Well, okay. I mean, okay. Let's just touch on it now, and then we don't need to touch on it when that match comes up in the line. I really liked him versus Kento Miyahara. But that's also because Kento is just a massive, Hogan fan, and Cyrus is very much a throwback to like fat guys of the 80s that Hogan would just have like a very specific type of match with, and Kento just has that match with him, and like that works really well. But I don't think there's really been a lot outside of that.
Oh, okay. Well, spoiler alert, I actually thought Cyrus versus Ashino was actually decent, just because it was a little different. It was a little different. Yeah. And actually Cyrus, and Cyrus versus Davey Boy, actually strangely not bad. But like that's still not enough to like, I don't know.
I like Davey Boy and Lord Crew a lot more in terms of outsiders.
Oh, let me tell you, I'm in the Lord Crew.
Oh yes, no, yeah, like Lord Crew. I hope he didn't like get into the doghouse by like concussing Honda because he had to use like a different finisher for the rest of the tournament.
Even if he did concuss Honda, because Honda didn't miss any time.
No, yeah, exactly. Like they need to bring this guy back.
They did cut down, like his match times were all really short, which I thought was a little unfair to him because I want to see what this guy can do.
Yeah,
but I would definitely bring him back. Absolutely,
yes. I want to see him against Kento and Yuma. I think he could have really good matches with them.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah. And then we move on to the 24th. Shinagawa Prince Hotel Stellar Ball in front of 527 fans. Shotaro Ashino versus Yuma Aoyagi defeated Yuma Aoyagi in 12:06. I thought this was awesome with the T-bone. I thought this was awesome.
Yeah, no, this was great. I like this one as well. There's other things I like a bit more. That's why I highlighted that one. It was more for like type purposes. But I also had a feeling that you wanted to talk about this anyway.
Yes. I mean, I think it was one of the top. I put it in my top 5. These guys always have great chemistry.
Yeah, that's actually a Triple Crown match I want to see because we kind of missed out on that during Aoyagi's title reign.
And then main event, Yuma Anzai defeated Suwama in 1908 by referee stop with a face lock. This is awesome. I have it number 3 in the tournament. I think that this was Suwama's best singles match in quite some time. And it was just everything it needed to be. And like Anzai, like this is how you put over a young guy.
Yeah.
You know?
So this is my match of the tournament.
Okay.
So far. I just absolutely loved it. Went 4.5 on it. I just love the entire structure. As you said, this is exactly how you put over a young guy. Because the structure of this match was that Suwama just can't hang with Yuma Anzai anymore, right?
Yeah.
Because he went into this match as like, no, I'm the old guy. I'm the veteran. I'm like the 5-time Triple Crown champion.
Oh God, I think he's like 7-time.
7-time, yeah, whatever. But like, I'm like, right, I'm the guy that like ruled this promotion for years.
Yeah.
And then just in the match, and he could have very easily done the match structure where like Suwama kind of like dominates Yuma Anzai. And like I said, like we've been afraid of like Yuma just getting this title reign where he's just like constantly working from underneath. But that's not what this match was at all, because Yuma basically dominated Suwama. Yeah. Like whenever like Suwama like got like a little bit of offense in, eventually like just Anzai would just get out of it, whatever like Suwama was doing, or Suwama would just literally just not have enough stamina to keep up with Anzai. Like where he would like do like a flurry of offense and then he would just collapse and just be like, I can't hang with the kid. Basically, he's just younger, he's faster, he has more stamina than me, and then he lost in the end by with the face lock as well. And yeah, I love this match. Like I said, 4.5. My match of the tournament. We'll see if the finals can break it, and just exactly the kind of match that Anzai needed, and just completely buried whatever fears I might have for like this Anzai reign, where like now I'm very confident like they're gonna like book this correctly.
Spoiler alert. I'm going to talk about Suwama for a second. Spoiler alert, Suwama does not make it to the final. And I know many people that thought he might. And what I was just going to say here is that the fact that Suwama doesn't make it to the finals here, the fact that Suwama, they could have dragged this out by giving Suwama a win over Anzai, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they just have him lose by referee stop, like this is, to me, the clearest, like Suwama's down cycle evidence yet. I mean, it was clearly already the thing, right? Last year he had his like Joshi adventures and everything like that. But this is further evidence that like we're not even going to do an Anzai versus Suwama program. He's just going to get the big win in the carnival.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and the other thing as well, I think we kind of have to bury the like narrative of like Hideki doesn't do jobs as well. Like I think it's both him and Suwama, right?
Well,
because both of them are very clearly down cycled.
Well, yes. Hideki has done. When did he come into All Japan? October.
Yeah,
he's done more jobs, or I think he did something like 5 singles losses in Noah in like several years, over like a couple of years, and he's already done it. I think 4 jobs in All Japan in like 6 months.
Yeah, and I mean, fuck, he literally was the belt carrier for Seigo Tachibana on the undercuts of one of these shows.
And look, I said that I think the foreigners might beat him, but he actually put over the Setos too.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Right.
And he put them over properly, not just like a thing of like, I'm going to kick out, like, and I'm going to like no sell it afterwards. Like he put them over properly.
And then so we move on to Osaka Edion Arena number 2 in front of 867 fans, which, I mean, All Japan can hit 900 in this building, but all things considered, for a Ray Seto versus Yuma Anzai main event, I think that's pretty good. Or am I? Do you think that's a dodge? Like, what do you think?
I mean, it's right on that edge, right? It's an okay number.
But I mean, I think that main event though is a decent number for that main event.
Yeah, I mean, but these are two guys that, I mean, I don't know how much you want to build about Ray Saito, but obviously these are two guys that are like trying to make more prominent, basically. And the fact that it did not draw that was right on the edge of not being a disappointing number is encouraging, right?
Yeah.
Because again, Anzai has not been around for that long. Because we've been talking about Yuma Aoyagi drawing good numbers, but Yuma Aoyagi has been around much longer than Yuma Anzai. So
yeah, for sure. Also, we'll talk about the Seto's drawing power in a minute.
Well, there's a very specific town there, or prefecture where they have amazing draws.
Well, that's probably why they're going to Sendai Sun Plaza in June, I think, or something.
I mean, I think we all know what the main event of that is going to be.
So, Champion Carnival. Kento Miyahara defeated Cyrus in 12:43. I thought that was fine, but you're higher than I am on this, so do you want to talk about it some more?
No, I mean, I talked about it already. Again, it's a very specific match. I mean, it's basically a Hogan 80s, like, WWF title defense, but what if Hogan had like the agility of Ricky Steamboat?
That's so fun. That's a incredible way to put it, actually.
So yeah, I mean, again, if you don't like that match structure, that's probably not going to be for you. But I thought this worked pretty well, and again, I mean, it's exactly what I expected. Is my best way of framing it.
Yeah. I'll just say I enjoyed Jun Seto versus Ryuki Honda. That's probably worth a watch. But I don't have a ton to say about it. Like, good hoss battle. But the main event, my God, Rei Saito defeated Yuma Anzai in 20 minutes and 57 seconds with the Eisbein. Paul, this is my match in this tournament.
No, I can see that. Which actually, just real quick before we launch into the match, I find it really interesting that like so many, like basically everybody has a different match of the tournament.
Yes. But I mean, look, you just had a Saito brother in a 20-minute. I think Alan 4L went like 4.5 stars on this match. So I don't know if I would go that high. I would like. But it's still my match of the tournament, and so it's got some love out there. Just, I mean, awesome. I mean, the bumps that Anzai took in this were awesome, and that bump for the Eisbein was amazing.
Yeah, no, I can fully agree on that. It's probably Rei Saito's best singles match.
Oh, for sure.
Like, right, because I like it. I liked it more than. No, wait, he never had the Triple Crown match. But
the only other singles matches I would put Rei that are notable are the ones against his brother.
Are the ones against June, yeah.
Yeah, the one in December, and then the one in the Carnival.
Yeah. So we'll see what they'll do for the title match that will come out of this.
So after this match, I put in the Discord, does anyone think Rei's going to the finals? Now, I was wrong on which Saito was going, but look. Rei to me is the better worker and more charismatic. I understand that June's got the more like sellable look.
Yeah.
But I think Rei is a better wrestler. And
Absolutely.
He's got more charisma, including more charisma in the ring.
He's a better talker too.
June's not a bad talker either. He's got the Doom catchphrase and everything.
Which, to be fair, I like that. Just for quick, I like that after the Block A finals when him and Kento, spoilers, were like facing off for the finals. Yeah. And like literally all June said was just Doom. Yeah, that was actually cool. But yeah.
I know
I agree otherwise that Rei is the better one.
But they see something in June because he's got like a more marketable look, obviously.
And I mean, that's the thing with both of them. You have to capitalize on them now, right?
Well, I will say this. I think June took a step up as a singles worker in this tournament. I still think Rei's better, but June is definitely improved.
Yeah, for sure. Because before I would have said that there's like a large gap between them in terms of singles work, but now I think that gap is a lot narrower than it was before.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else on this show that I have to mention? No. Then we go to Nagoya International Conference Hall in front of 850 fans. Again, slightly down from what they draw. They draw like 930 something usually. So, boo on you, Hideki and Suwama, for that one.
I mean, like, weirdly, the Carnival outside of the final nights always kind of draws weirdly low, right? I would actually say like somewhat exceeded my expectations because like especially with that early Korakuen numbers, like if you look in the last couple of years,
Oh yeah.
Like that opening night, like drew like shit generally, and it actually, yeah. They like while they're down from their normal numbers, they're up from their normal carnival numbers, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good sign. So we got so we'll just go to the top 2 matches because I really think that's it. Unless you were a big fan of Yuma Aoyagi versus Cyrus or something.
No.
Actually, I liked Lord Crew versus Ray Saito, but it was way too short.
Yeah.
But Kento Miyahara defeated Shotaro Ashino in 1840 with the shutdown German. Again, these guys got a better match in them, but this was really good. But guess what? You can't do a limb work match with Kento and expect to. If you're a selling fetishist, you'll get angry.
Yeah.
And so, Kento sort of blows off the leg work.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, it was still a very good match.
I mean, I will say there's one time where Kento was good at limb selling, and that was the Nakajima match.
Fair enough.
But that's like, again, the one example out of like him not being like this being like, even great workers have weaknesses, right? Yeah. For Okada, it's submissions, and for Kento Miyahara, it's like limb selling. Like they're not good at it.
Yeah, it's funny because I think Kento even spams the knee less than he did. And then in the main event, what we all expected, Hideki Suzuki defeated Suwama in 15:07 with the referee stop in the octopus hold. Now, this was definitely better than their previous singles match.
Well, I mean, the previous singles match was also like 8 minutes.
No, it was a little longer, but I don't know
okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was good, and I did like the finish, just getting him in that octopus hold, and then with the referee stop. So solid enough main event.
No, definitely. I will say out of all of because again, we've talked about a lot of like the main events of the carnival show so far.
Yeah, that's where all the good stuff was.
Yeah, but like, for example, like maybe I would say like Hokuto versus Kento was weaker than this, but otherwise I'm kind of like thinking this was definitely one of the weakest one. Well, maybe the next show.
In terms of main events, yes.
Yeah.
And then Kurobi on the 29th, Kurobi City General Sports Center main arena. I'm just looking through here about what's worth going on. I thought Davey Boy versus Ren Ayabe was actually not bad. Not spectacular by any means. Suwama versus Ryuki Honda. I was a little disappointed. And
there was a lot less there than I thought there would.
I thought there would be. And then Kento versus Jiro in the main event. Obviously, Kento won with the shutdown German. I mean, what did you expect between these two?
Yeah.
It was basically what I expected. It wasn't bad, but I mean, this was really a charisma battle.
No.
And they working in the crowds and everything like that.
Look, I really have come around on Jiro in terms of his entrance and all of that, but it's not like a top tier worker. So like a work rate match is not what he's built for.
He's good in tags. I like him in tags. But yeah. So we move on to the May 3rd at Dream Messe Miyagi Main Building Exhibition Hall, halls B and C, in front of 1,470 fans, which is the biggest attendance of the block stages of all of them, actually. Well, the reason for that was the main event. But before we get there, I thought that I can't believe Suwama versus Lord Crew only got 3 minutes.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot to mention because I think I forgot to mention it. I really enjoyed Hideki versus Lord Crew.
Yeah, that one was surprising.
And
good.
I was heartbroken with how much time they got. They could have gone 10 minutes easily.
Yeah. It was one of those matches where it's like, okay, why is this so short?
And I mean, Suwama versus Crew. I mean, Hideki got more time, and Hideki and Crew got more time. Suwama and Lord Crew was 3 minutes and 20 seconds, but I thought they worked well together. I mean, look, I'm looking at Crew's social media and everything. He's got fans tweeting at him, taking pictures with him in his merch. I hope they really do bring him back. He is, to me, a much more interesting, because I don't know if how often they're going to use Davey Boy, and I'm sure that Davey Boy costs more than Lord Crew, but I would take Lord Crew over Cyrus any day of the week.
Let me put it this way. Lord Crew's the most interesting foreigner they have brought in recently that they can afford to bring back regularly.
Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it, I think.
Right, sure. because we had guys like Gresham, but like Gresham obviously cost more, like same with Davey Boy.
Yeah, and that only worked because they were doing a week tour of Hokkaido. So yeah, I mean, I would, and like, you know, I mean, he's got a great look and everything like that. So please.
Also, I don't know like why I think that, but like for some reason, Lord Crew gives me a bit of like weep / hardcore pro fan vibes. I feel like he might actually be willing to move there if they make him an offer for that.
Well, he, I don't know about that, but he definitely familiarized himself with the product.
Yeah.
And everything like that. So, just have to put over Lord Crew because I thought he made a great first impression. And on this show, anything else that's worth talking about? Well, Jiro beat Shotaro Ashino and for no reason other than Jiro needed to get to a certain number of points, I bet.
Well, and Ashino needed to like needed to be eliminated at some point.
Well, yeah, but you could have done that the final night, but whatever. Yeah. And then, of course, main event, Rei Seto defeated Jun Seto in 23:50 with the Eisbein. My God, they gave them a lot of time for these two.
Yeah.
And these guys have delivered in their 20-minute singles matches.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I did not expect the Saitos to be like guys that can go for like 20 minutes plus.
I don't think they can go
somehow they are.
I don't think you could stick them in against anyone for 20 minutes.
No.
But they can do it.
With the right guy, they absolutely can, yes. Because I expected them to be guys that can't do it even against the right guy.
And to be honest, this was a little slow to get going. And then they started beating the shit out of each other.
Yes.
And then it got real good. And I really did enjoy this match in the end, but it was a little slow going to begin. No question. But
yeah, I don't remember who it was that said it, that basically went against like your brother or like your very best friend, like you can just lay it in. Because you know that like the other guy won't mind it. And like this was very much that when they like really got like down to brass tacks, right? Because they just absolutely beat the shit out of each other. And like I was like, guys, you know it's a work, right? You don't need to lay it in that hard.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then, so I mean, the Setos are draws. I mean, in yes. Miyagi, and I think we're about to find out this weekend just how big of draws they are.
Yeah.
At Buntai. And then we move on to May 4th.
Well, Buntai, actually, I'm curious when they go to Sun Plaza, which, I mean, let's be real, right? That's going to be Rei Saito versus Anzai.
Maybe. Or it could just be a big tag title match.
True. Actually, yeah, I forgot they have the tag title matches as well. But again, like, if they fill, like, that building, then, like, again, as long as All Japan can keep them in, like, relatively prominent positions, they have, like, a town they can go to, like, draw a real good number when they need it.
Absolutely. So May 4th at Sanjo City Public Welfare Hall. I'm going to go over all the matches because I thought Hartley Jackson versus Lord Crew might have been Hartley Jackson's best match.
I mean, it's a low bar, but I agree.
Look, by all accounts, Hartley Jackson is a very nice guy, but the years have taken their toll.
Yeah, he was the worst worker in this tournament.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call him horrible, just like...
No.
You know.
And he seemed motivated, but it was definitely a case of like the mind is willing, but the flesh is weak.
Yeah, absolutely. But I thought somehow him and Crew had the best match because they were like, let's have a American style TV match.
Yeah, definitely.
And I thought it was one of Jackson's best matches. Actually, Anzai versus Jackson wasn't too bad either, if I recall correctly. But those would be my top Hartley Jackson matches. Against Anzai, again, not surprisingly. Also, I forgot to mention, is Anzai the best seller in the business right now?
He's close. He definitely, for me, like showed why like Yuji Nagata made such a hard play for him, and like how lucky All Japan is that he went to the same university as Obama.
Oh,
there's no chance he's in this promotion otherwise.
Well,
and
I mean,
just at the rate he's improving this year is insane.
Look, he would not be. If he went to New Japan, he would not be IWGP champion right now. And we might be complaining, you got to push this guy harder.
Yes. I mean, we just talked about like Kaito pinning Yuya Uemura, right?
Yeah.
Yuya Uemura only has 6 months less experience than Yuki Ueno.
Right. Now, to be like, look, I think they're doing stuff with Yoda suit. I'm not going to get into a big New Japan discussion. I don't think they're not completely not pushing these guys, but you could move a little faster.
Yes. Like you don't need guys to be like 8-year veterans before you do anything with them.
But so I think that the way that Anzai has been treated is probably going to keep him in the company for a while. Yeah. Although I would not say that the poaching will never happen or something.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's probably good to stay in All Japan for at least 6 to 8 years.
Sure.
And then it depends what state All Japan is at that point and what state New Japan is in at that point.
Well, yeah, too. And he'll be in his early 30s and stuff like that. Yeah. And, you know, you'll know if he could hack it and could
because again, it might be that All Japan at that point, if they like continue to like grow their business, that there is actually like a conglomerate swooping in and being like, yeah, okay, maybe we do want to add like a wrestling promotion to our portfolio.
For sure.
And then it gets a lot harder for like the cyber fights or New Japan's to like poach this guy.
Yep. And then Ryuki Honda versus Rei Saito defeated Rei Saito in 1301 with the final event. Again, I enjoyed this match a lot. Probably actually I would have it as the third best match of the show, but it's still worth a watch.
Also, Honda doing the like final event on Rei Saito is very impressive.
Yes. Well, I mean, he had to set it up a little different. He he basically put Rei on the turnbuckle.
Yes, like he couldn't just do it normally. That would not work. But like the fact that he managed to do it at all is impressive.
Yes. And then in the match, probably the most correctly guessed result of the tournament, Hideki Suzuki defeated Yuma Anzai in 10 minutes and 45 seconds with the Seigo leg crab hold. I mean, I thought this was awesome. I mean, Hideki was Hideki. And I don't know if that's a real injury or not, but Anzai had his knee taped up, and Suzuki just honed in on that leg and dissected it. And I thought
I think it was a work.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, don't need to be wearing knee tape at like 23, 24 years old.
No. Also not like have your like first Triple Crown reign ended by like having to like vacate the title.
Well, yeah. And so anyway, and then I thought Anzai's comebacks were great. This was just like for a 10 minute and 45 second match, this just was like almost perfect storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that these guys could have an amazing Triple Crown match, and I hope that happens very soon.
Yeah, I think, again, that's one of the ones that was very obviously lined up for, like, Anzai title defenses. And I also agree. Like, from what I've seen in this match, I'm really, really looking forward to that one. And, again, I think we're going to get, like, a match in that one on the title defense, a match similar to Kaito versus Hideki.
Yeah.
Because again, right, because that was a match that Hideki just really dominated as well, but he still put over Kaito strongly. As much as, like, right, because that was a match structure where, like, Hideki dominated the match, but then he probably actually sold the loss when he actually lost to Kaito. And I think that's the way that Triple Crown match is going to go as well.
I actually think, and this is just totally a hunch, but Hideki's getting the next challenge after the Champion Carnival winner.
Yeah. When is this? Oh, well, yeah, that might also be a title. That might also be a tag title match, as you said, the Sendai one. But I could definitely see
Sendai's
him getting the like immediately one.
Yeah. Sendai is in June or July, so you got a bit of time, and you'll have time. You'll have to fill stuff up before then. And I think Hideki winning on the last block night also too is sort of like a bit of a giveaway of when they're going to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, that it's like something they're going to do pretty quickly.
Yeah. So, and then we go on to the main event to Jun Saito defeated Suwama in 14 minutes and 18 seconds, the Psycho Break. I thought that this was also pretty darn good. I thought Suwama worked hard, and again, he put over Jun strong, and I just really enjoyed this match.
Yeah. No, it definitely exceeded my expectations, because when I saw this match on the schedule, especially that it was going to be the main event, I was like, I don't know.
Oh, Sendai Sun Plaza.
How this is going to go?
Sorry, Sendai Sun Plaza is August 3rd.
Do you still want Anzai to be the champion by then?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Well, I'll talk more about that in a minute, but you give Anzai 2-3 defenses against big names, and that's all you need, and you get out before it becomes too long on his first reign. And I think they're going to go in the right direction, but we'll talk about that more in a second. But yes, well, let's get back to Saito versus Suwama. I mean, I just thought this was perfect. Well, not perfect, but
for what it should be.
Yeah, for what they should be. They built it up. And I thought the last few minutes were actually pretty dramatic, actually.
Mm-hmm. I mean, as much as like Suwama was getting downcycled, I would say this was actually one of his better Champion Carnivals.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have Suwama in my top 3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, same. Like, I think I have him. Yeah, I would say I have him number 3. Because I would probably have it Anzai first and Kento second and then Suwama third.
I have Anzai, Ray, and Suwama as my top 3.
Fair, yeah. Ray is actually my 4th.
And also, Block B totally exceeded expectations.
Oh yeah, no, because I looked at that and was like, yeah, okay, Block A is the match quality one, and then Block B, let's see how this one goes. Block B was so much better than Block A.
You can argue Block A sort of under delivered.
Yes.
Because the Kento versus Yuma match especially sort of knocks it down. And then you have Hokuto doing his thing, and then Cyrus.
Yeah. And Jiro kind of doing his thing as well. I would say Ren Ayabe was the one that kind of stuck out, like for me in Block A, that kind of exceeded expectations.
Yes. I thought that obviously his best match was against Kento, and we talked about that on the last episode. But I thought that I'm not saying that he was like super dynamic at every match, but he has taken a step forward in his singles work for sure. And that is showing it showed in this tournament.
And that's all you really wanted out of him this year, right? Because this is when he joined the promotion. He got a new look. He beat Kento. That's all you really needed to do. Like, it doesn't really matter what he does for the rest of the tournament.
No, he only ended up with
showed enough progression. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. He only did
new look and everything.
Jiro Kuroshio and Kento Miyahara. The only people he beat in the entire tournament.
Honestly, one thing I will say is that there were less double countouts than I expected in this tournament.
Yes.
There was only surprising. The one Kento, Yuma Aoyaki versus Jiro, which fine, that whatever, it makes sense in the context. There's no double countouts because people aren't doing jobs or shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Which again was very much a possibility with Hideki in there, but I think again we probably need to bury, because Hideki hasn't done that in either Noah or All Japan.
Here's how I see it, and this is just completely my analysis, so it could be completely wrong. Hideki is 44 this year. He's got to play ball if he wants to keep getting booked at his age.
Yeah, true. I mean,
you know what I mean?
We say that, but then someone like Fujita doesn't do that.
Well, Fujita is a different level of star than Hideki Suzuki ever was.
True.
Though. Regardless of what you want to say about Hideki or Fujita's run in New Japan in the early to mid 2000s, he's also an MMA legend. He's a different beast, literally different beast. Hideki's running out of politicking ability. I don't know. Again, we don't know why he left Noah. Maybe because. Well, I don't know. Was Noah?
We say he left Noah, but then fucking the Noah English commentators were talking about Hideki still being the leader of Real.
Oh, were they? Okay.
Yeah, they did that when Taniguchi came out in the Real shirt.
Okay, well maybe he'll be back, and maybe this is just a short run, but I don't know. I just feel like he probably can't be picky anymore. I don't know. Something's up.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, maybe he just became more mellow with age.
That's also, I totally agree. Or maybe the Performance Center hobbled him.
Actually, yes, that might be a thing as well. I hadn't actually thought of that angle. That might be a thing where he's like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be this much of a douchebag.
He sat under the Shawn Michaels learning tree and was told that, look, I was a young, egotistical guy that wouldn't put anyone over. But then I grew up.
See, I would have the opposite take where it's like, he watched Shawn Michaels and was like, "Oh, I don't want to become that guy. Maybe I should be more. Maybe I should be a better person."
That's true. Although, I mean, I just mean when when Michaels came back, he was a little more cooperative. From 2002 onwards type thing. But.
I mean, okay, not to go into that kind of discussion, but it's not like it could have gotten worse.
That's true too. Absolutely. So, and then we move on to May 6th at Corkin Hall in front of 1,276 fans. This is opposite altogether. And Paul, I got to say that's an impressive number.
Yeah.
Especially given all together did 4,583, which in the Budokan is disappointing, especially for promotional show. But somehow All Japan persevered and did 1,276.
Also, while there were 40,000 people for a boxing match in a Tokyo Dome right next door. 50,000, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm actually curious if, because people were talking about how the boxing match hurt altogether. I'm actually curious if this show hurt altogether as well. Right? Because you put 1,200 people more into the Budokan and it doesn't look as bad.
No. Yeah, I don't know.
But I'm also thinking, if I had been in Japan at this time, I would have gone to this show over altogether.
Yeah. Yeah, I might have. For sure. But it's all together. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it was a consequential show, right? It had stakes.
Yeah. I mean, there actually was a lot more stuff of not in terms of the matches itself, but things coming out of that show, out of altogether than I thought it would have been. But still, I would have gone to this show to just see who goes to the Champion Carnival finals.
For sure, absolutely. And let's see here. We start off with Actress times. Nagisa Shorosuke and Natsuki defeated Maru and Mari, or Mary maybe, in 9 minutes and 10 seconds with a jackknife hold from Natsuki on Maru. Paul, did you watch this match? Because I did not.
I did not either, actually.
Oh God. Well,
I actually missed the first two matches and then got.
I don't even know who any of these
Gerard
people
TV
are.
title match.
No, all the people I know in Actress girls have left.
He did all of this work to catch up on Actress girls, and then they all leave.
Except for Act Yasukawa, but that's the only one who's left I know.
But that's the only one I know. That's the only one I knew before as well.
I did not watch the junior heavyweight title skirmish either.
No, yeah, like I said, I missed the first two matches. So,
but we go to the Gerard TV title. Seigo Tachibana defeated Dan Tammer in 1553 with the Yankee Hammer for his second defensive title. Somewhat mildly surprised that Dan did not win this title, but goddamn, this was great.
Oh God, this was awesome. Okay, right off the bat, where would you rank this if this had been a match on a carnival?
Top 4.
Because it probably would be my second. I would probably still put it behind Anzai and Suwama, but I would put it second.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. I mean, top 4, top 5 for sure.
Yeah, no, this was just awesome. This was these two guys being why didn't you put us in the carnival, basically? And just okay, let us show you what we could have done.
And I love the finish where they just did a strike battle.
Yeah.
And then Tachibana got the Yankee Hammer and everything. That's a much more interesting finish for these two and everything like that. Mm-hmm. Just go action. I don't know. I mean, I could see, the Gerard TV title would be a good title for Dan since he straddles that line between heavy and junior. But I'm not going to also ask to change up this Tachibana reign, which has been awesome.
Yeah, Tachibana is having a sneaky great year.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, he is. Yeah.
Just all of these Gerard TV title matches have been really good. And I actually like the tag team stuff he's doing with Jiro as well. I think that works pretty well as well. Just the right time mix of comedy and actually serious. Because Tachibana does all of the serious in-ring stuff. He's super over with the crowd as well.
Yeah.
Just the cries of Aniki just everywhere. Yeah, no, I really love this match. Yeah, they should absolutely sign him. They should. I mean, I don't even know. I think this is the exact perfect level you push this guy as well.
Yep.
And this is definitely climbing up there in terms of my favorite all-time Gerard TV title reigns. Because I'm trying to think, like, because it's like, again, it's a very much a like up and down title, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that many reigns that are better than this. Like the ones I can think of off the top of my head are like Akiyama and
Ishikawa.
Irie. Yeah.
And
Irie.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
but this is creeping up there. This is like probably has passed some of these already.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, we'll see where this goes next, but
yeah. Also, yeah. Just I think my favorite part was when they both did like fighting spirit spots of kicking out at one and then just laid into each other and then both collapsed at the same time. I think that was my favorite part of the match. Just absolutely great shit.
Also, the thing with this reign is like it could end at any time.
Yes, that's the other thing. I think that really helps the reign as well because, like, it's Seigo Tachibana, so you just expect him to lose every single time, and then he retains anyway.
And to anyone, right?
Yes,
you lose to anyone and everything like that. So
I mean, that might be the one downside of the reign, that it might just end him with him losing it to like Jiro.
I mean, that's very possible.
Yes, no, I actually think that's what's going to happen because they're kind of teasing Jiro being jealous.
Mm-hmm. Now, you could go to that because you could, like, I mean, you could do Jiro and Tachibana versus Dan and Sato for the All Asia Tag titles.
Mm-hmm. And then they lose, and then like Tachibana gets pinned, and then Jiro's like, actually, let me just get your belt instead.
Yeah, exactly, type thing. Special 8-man tag match: Yuma Anzai, Ryoki Honda, Jun Sato, and Rei Sato defeated Suwama, Hideki Suzuki, Harley Jackson, and Lord Crew in 841 with the Psycho Break from Jun on Crew. I thought this was a very solid match, and you wanted to give the young guys the shine. So it was a nice little match.
Yeah, it was basically just get everyone else on the card that isn't in this block, basically.
Champion Carnival, Block A. Renai Abe defeated Kuroshio Tokyo, Japan in 9:37 with the Death Roulette. Actually, by Jiro standards, this was one of his better matches in the tournament, I thought.
Yeah.
Just because, they played into the size difference well and everything like that.
No, I agree. I mean, that's still Ren's biggest advantage, right, as a size.
Yeah.
So, no, solid match.
And then we had Cyrus defeating Shotaro Ashino in 7:57 with a reverse splash. Honestly, I don't think there was no reason why Ashino couldn't finish with 8 points. He finished with 6. Mm-hmm. But whatever. But honestly, look, I still think this is one of the better Cyrus matches just because of the dynamic with Ashino. I mean, that was all because of Ashino.
Yeah. But I think this is really the one that kind of solidified it for me of being a bit done with Cyrus as well, because there wasn't a lot to this match.
No. I just think there's a lot to a lot of his other matches too. So, well.
No, I agree. But definitely, if you can't do really, if Ashino can't really do much with you, that's not a good sign.
Yeah. And then, and another something that a lot of people had circled, Hokuto Omori defeated Yuma Aoyagi in 8:59 with the Muso Isin. Okay, first of all, I laughed my ass off when the other horse guy came out with an Altogether t-shirt on.
Yeah.
Also, Yuma disguised himself as the other guy at one point too, and took.
I mean, he literally took the other guy in the sleeper hold and dragged him backstage, and then came out in the horse mask.
Yeah, that was funny. Although somehow Omori did not notice that that guy had become much larger.
Yeah, that was the other weird part. It was like, okay, this definitely isn't Katsuhiko Nakajima style.
No. This match was okay, I guess. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little better if you want to grade on a Hokuto Omori in the Champion Carnival this year curve. It kind of had a hot finishing sequence. So I will say it was one of the better ones, but it still had nut shots and ref bumps and everything like that.
Yeah. But I feel like we're going to get the reveal of the horse mask guy at the other Altogether show.
Oh, you think that's when it will be?
I mean, they kind of cut a promo afterwards, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I felt like that's what it was about, and they pointed at the t-shirt.
Interesting. Okay. And then in the main event, and this what all Block A came down to. Kento Miyahara defeated Davey Boy Smith Jr. in 26 minutes and 12 seconds to shut down German suplex hold. Speaking of limb work, there was some arm work that Smith did that went nowhere on Kento. But you know what? I mostly enjoyed this match. I thought it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It was Smith's best match of the tournament. I thought that he actually showed some good brawling and technical prowess here.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it built itself well. Interestingly enough, I thought the finishing sequence was just like a couple of knees in the German in the shutdown. Not quite as dramatic as other Kento finishing sequences, but I thought the match worked still in the end. Definitely in like the upper tier of the tournament, but definitely probably just outside my top 5.
Yeah, no, I agree. And this was actually my favorite, like Davey Boy Smith
without
Jr.
a
like
question.
singles match.
Yeah,
like outside of like Bloodsport, like that weird miracle match he had with what's his name, the Fallen Prey guy.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
No, like the guy, like the like with the Scarlet, the guy that's together with Scarlet.
Oh, Killer Cross.
Yeah,
Carrion Cross.
Yeah, exactly. So like they had like like almost like miracle, like 4 1/4 star match in Bloodsport where they just beat the shit out of each other. And yeah, no, and this was pretty great as well. And you could feel that Davey Boy was really proud of his performance here as well. So I thought it was well worth like being like the block final as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no,
yes,
as you said, some of the work went nowhere, but it was still the best performance he had.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised it came down to this. Smith is a name, and he's over. So, that's a good use of a final block night sort of guy to overcome and everything like that. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the block stage of the carnival. We sort of already talked about it. We thought it was the best carnival in several years. B block exceeded expectations. A block sort of under-delivered a bit, which is fascinating.
Yes, very much the opposite of what I expected.
So let's go over the card.
It's really because we just didn't give the Citus enough credit. I think it's really the reason here. The Citus over-delivering just made the block so much better.
Oh, for sure. But also Hideki playing ball.
Yeah.
And Suwama, of course, stepped up.
Yep.
Yeah, no question about that.
And just Anzai taking like leaps basically every single time he gets in there for a singles match.
Absolutely. So, Champion Carnival finals on May 12th at Yokohama Buntai. So, we're getting an act rest time. Act and Riko Fukunaga versus Marino Saihara and Yufa. Again, I only know Act.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Tamura and Musashi versus Andy Wu and Seki Yoshioka. That's not a bad little card.
Yeah.
Hokuto Omori and Kuma Arashi. We have a Enfant / Total Eclipse reunion versus Hartley Jackson and Lord Crew. I'm actually sort of curious about that match.
Yes.
After Champion Carnival singles match, Rei Saito versus Ren Ayabe. Now, I'm curious to how this will go.
Yes, very much so, actually.
I think it could be good. But see, here's the thing. This could be really good if Ren gets more aggressive.
I think, you know what I'm actually thinking? I think this might be a spoiler. Like, okay, just for quick, you're assuming Kento is winning the carnival, right?
At this point, yes, still.
Yeah. I feel like this might be a spoiler for who is winning the Triple Crown match.
What do you mean? The carnival?
So if Ren wins this, then Kento's winning. If Rei wins this, then Anzai is winning.
Okay, I can see that. Definitely, absolutely.
Right? Because Ren got the pin on Kento. So if Kento's beating Anzai, then he would make sense as like a challenger.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So next up, Formation. Shin Haisi Ishigun. Reunion, basically. So we got Yuma Aoyagi, Shiro Koshinaka, and Akira, now back in All Japan, versus Shotaro Ashino, Kuroshio Tokyo Japan, and Sego Tachibana. Look, I'll say this. After Akira's performance on Wrestle Magic, my expectations for this match have increased.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because before I was like, oh my god, how is Yuma Aoyagi going to carry his team? But like, I don't know. I think it's actually like, okay, how are Yuma Aoyagi and Akira going to carry Shiro Koshinaka?
And expect some hip attacks from Yuma.
Yes.
After Champion Carnival special tag match, Yuma Anzai and Reiki Honda versus Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Cyrus. I think this is going to be an easy win for Anzai and Honda.
Yeah.
I would assume. I hope.
I mean, unless they want to do like some sort of like tag title challenge with Davey Boy and Cyrus.
Nah,
Yeah,
I'm not too crazy
let's
about
see.
that.
No.
I think you got to give Anzai a big win here on this big show.
Or Honda, actually.
Yeah, that too. Special tag team match. Suwama and Hideki Suzuki versus Masakatsu Funaki and Masayuki Kono. Paul, we have a stack of arms reunion.
Yes, the stack of arms are back, which I feel like we're like one of a very small group of people that are going to be excited about that.
Well, I'm not even really that.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, it's more like, oh, I remember this.
Yeah.
Remember the bad old times.
Remember. Yeah. Yeah, that's when things started to falter even before Wrestle 1.
Yeah.
Like in 2010, 2011. Our PWF World Junior Heavyweight Championship. Rising Hayato versus Kaz Hayashi. I mean, I had decent expectations for this.
Mm-hmm. And Kaz, like whenever Hayashi is like motivated, he can still go.
Yeah, for sure. I think so.
And I think again, because this is very likely going to be the last title challenge for any title, not just All Japan, but like any title in his career, right?
He's got those G-Infinity titles.
Oh, does he? Oh,
him and Shima. Unless they've lost them by now, but I don't think so.
No. I didn't realize that they won it. I have been falling out a bit on like great a little bit.
Well, I only watch when I hear hype, like when Sodamanji and Takanori Ito.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm not watching the house shows really much.
Okay, then let me amend my statement. It will most likely be his last singles title challenge. Of his career. Yes.
Yes. So I have decent expectations for that. We do not have an official match order yet, by the way. This is just what.
But I would assume this is the semi-main.
Yeah, either that or the Stack of Arms reunion.
Yeah.
And then the Champion Carnival final: Kento Miyahara versus Jun Saito. Now, Paul, as we were just talking about it, I still expect Kento to win, but I would not be shocked if Jun did win. No,
I'm gonna put it at like 70-30, basically.
Yeah, that's reasonable. 65-35, 33%, 1/3 chance.
Yeah.
Type thing even. Because that next Corkin show is like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, which is fascinating. Now that could just be the roll of the dice and what they could get. But I feel like, you want to pack it in on a weekend. I don't know if you're doing Kento versus Anzai. But look, my personal feeling on this is I think Kento should win. And I think because Kento hasn't had much recently, you got to give him a Champion Carnival. This would only be his second Champion Carnival. And all you need out of this first Anzai reign is for him to beat Kento. Give him one or two other title defenses. We already know one of them is probably going to be Hideki. And I think Ray is more likely than Honda to get that third shot.
Yeah.
And
because you don't want to give him more than that.
I could see it going to him defending it against all four. But that has that. But I would stop it at 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And that's what all you need out of this first Anzai reign, especially the Kento win. That's what they should do. I pray to God it's not Kento beating him.
Yeah, I do think that would be a mistake. Like, I think they did a really good job building Anzai up through the carnival.
Yeah, they did.
So I do think it would be a mistake to like have him lose to Kento.
Yeah.
I think he should lose. I think he should lose it to the returning Katsuhiko Nakajima.
Yeah. I mean, so.
And I would almost make that a squash.
I don't know about that because I think you got to make Anzai more competitive in their rematch because of how uncompetitive it was originally.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends. Because I think you could still do that as a singles match at some other time, where then Anzai like actually beats him on not a banana peel.
Yep, for sure.
Because they're 1-1 afterwards, so you can do a third one to settle it.
Oh, for sure. So I think. Oh, so I just want to talk about Nakajima for a second. He put out a new video at I don't know I think after we recorded our last show around the 27th or 28th or something of April. Where he's like sitting on a lake and he's got the mysterious masked man that no one knows who it is, Simon.
Yeah.
And then he's still got like free agent in his bio. What's your feeling? You still think he's coming back to All Japan?
I think he's still coming back because where else is he gonna go? Like, I feel like if he was going to New Japan, he would have already popped up there. Same if he was going to the US. If he was going to the US,
if he was going to the US, yeah.
They would have already brought him in for like WrestleMania weekend or whatever.
The visa thing.
I mean,
he had a visa though. He had a
visa. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess.
Like going back to Noah again, why wasn't he like the animal mask guy against Keno at WrestleMagic? Like you should have brought him back there. DDT doesn't make any sense.
No.
Dragon Gate would be weird.
Well,
Great would be a massive step down.
I was just going to say, once the G1 participants are announced, though, too. I mean, you can't completely discount that. And maybe we can get a Jake versus Nakajima match.
I mean, maybe that would be very weird, though, if we get a G1 match between Nakajima and Jake.
What I'm still leaning to, yes, he's coming back, but I think that after the G1 will still be another like, okay, definitely coming back type thing.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, definitely. If he's not in a G1, then like it's literally like, well, what the fuck else are you gonna do unless you like start your own promotion? Which, I mean, oh god, if he starts his own promotion with Simon, that would actually be worse than him going to WWE.
That is some big mouth loud.
Yeah.
What do you think of this card overall? For the Boom.
I mean, they're definitely relying on that main event to draw.
Oh, they definitely are.
There isn't a whole lot else there in terms of like drawing matches.
Do you remember like the Carnival final show last year?
Yes.
That had
arm.
Well, yeah, but you know what that had as the semi-main event?
Wasn't that Naito?
It was Tetsuya Naito against Kento Miyahara. Well, in a tag match, but still. So I'm just fascinated by the lack of juice on the undercard here.
I mean, maybe they really are. Maybe this is really just a test of them seeing, like, okay, how much can we actually draw by ourselves in a big new building?
If this was an Oda Ward, I wouldn't bat an eyebrow. But this is a new building that's not much larger, but like probably 4,000 to 5,000 seats versus Oda Ward's like 3,000. Mm-hmm. So that's a big step up. Stardom had set the record to beat at 2,700. Do you think this breaks 2?
I think it would be kind of bad if they don't, right?
I think so too. But
I don't know if they're going to be able to beat Stardom, yeah.
Oh, no. I'm not expecting that. But can this break 2?
I think they can.
Well, apparently, wasn't there like a very large walk-up for the Korakuen?
Yeah, I think there was. So I guess maybe it depends on the weather.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's good weather. Otherwise, because I think less than 2,000 would be a disappointing attendance.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, I'm not going to make any predictions. I'm just going to say that that's what it should be.
Fair.
And everything like that. Also, like looking at this card, do you think this is any, like this was a throwaway line in one of those Tokyo sports stories, but do you think there's any credence to the, like looking at this, looking how like, I mean, Dan appears on a great show occasionally. And, what I was going to say is like, do you think they have heat with all these other companies still? Do you think
I think it's definitely gone down.
And the DDT relationship has disappeared after Yuma versus Takeshita.
I mean, I think we'll see what they do at All Together, right?
Yeah.
Like if they're just doing their own stuff at All Together, I think then that's definitely a sign that there's still some heat there. Whereas if they're a lot more like integrated into the stories, then I feel like that's probably passed a little bit as well.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that Jake versus Naito being the big drawing match of that show to the, by and bracketing everybody else, especially All Japan out, who are the people that are on this show that weren't on the last one, sort of telling, I think.
Yeah.
I couldn't read too much into it, but maybe they looked at the Budokan sales and were like, well, we need to juice this up. Maybe, but it could also be a sort of, well, we have to have them there, but we'll freeze them out otherwise.
I mean, to me, again, it depends, like if they actually do the horse mask reveal there, because
for sure.
I still think that's Nakajima.
Yeah,
it's obviously it wasn't Nakajima during the tournament, but I think the ultimate reveal is going to be Nakajima. I think like during the tournament, it was just one of their trainees.
Oh yeah, one of those guys. I can't even remember either of their names.
No,
but we
you saw them at ringside, but
yeah, you see them at ringside now, which is a good sign. So
Mhm.
they're in the dojo training. So
Yeah.
probably by the end of this summer, early fall, they'll be debuting. That's what I would sort of expect and everything like that. So that's all Japan, and that's the Champion Carnival, and only one show to go with the finals. Paul, any overarching thoughts? Because I got to say, I enjoyed the first 3 months of All Japan. I do think
Mhm.
Nakajima had some good matches, but I
Mhm.
feel that there is more juice now than there
Mhm.
was in the first couple months of the year, the first quarter of the year, we'll say.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people say that this is like All Japan's like weakest year in ring wise in a while.
I see what they
And
mean because they were expecting like a match of the
yeah,
year candidates.
because my thing is like I disagree with that, but I think we have different frames of reference here. Because I agree with you, like a lot of people were like expecting like a match of the year contender, and we haven't gotten that.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that their floor is so much higher than it's been in years.
Oh, absolutely. Think about going back to 2019 and now.
Yeah.
Go back
Like
5
the
years.
average card strength is so much better now than it has been since the Wrestle One split.
Well, also the average age has dropped dramatically.
Yes, that helps.
And
as well.
you can also like asterisk that by the Cytos because they sort of bring up the average age.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But the average experience is a lot lower.
Yeah.
Like because the Cytos obviously like they are in their late 30s.
Yes,
but
they're
obviously
special
they're
case.
still exactly they're special cases, so you can't really factor them in the same way.
Mm-hmm. But they turned out a bunch of guys in their dojo. They got Rising
Mhm.
Hayato. Musashi seems to be in it for the long
Yeah.
haul. For I don't know. I mean, he could be gone in like 3 months or something, but you never know.
But again, like a lot of people, again, that's another guy people had like bracketed in to go to New Japan. It seems like he's like sticking around in All Japan instead.
And then Yoshioka, hopefully sticks. I think Yoshioka is a part timer, just in general in wrestling now, but still a great hand to have. Kuma Arashi, hopefully.
Yes.
More of him.
More good Seigo Tachibana, like singles
Oh,
matches.
I forgot to mention this. Did you watch the Kuma Arashi versus Cyrus match?
No.
It was on the Sanjo show on the 4th of May. Because I don't know. Well, because Inoue got injured and everything like that. But
okay,
so I gotta say, if that was a match in the Champion Carnival, that would be like the second or third best Cyrus match.
Yeah, that doesn't shock me because that seems like just two big guys just slapping into each other, right?
Kuma really made that match. I don't want to overhype this, okay?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not even close to a 4-star match. 3.25 match, maybe 3.5 if you're extra generous. But I enjoyed it for what it was, and I thought Kuma was great.
Yeah, no, Kuma absolutely should have been in the carnival.
Yeah, he should have replaced Cyrus.
Yes.
If you imagine that would have saved A Block, or that would have made A Block much better if you had swapped out Cyrus for Kuma Arashi.
Yeah, and with like you have like inbuilt stories with him and Shotaro Ashino and all of that.
Yep, absolutely. So I had to mention that because I forgot about that. But when we mentioned Kuma Arashi as a possible regular and everything like that. So yeah.
And again, it would have actually meant a lot more if Kuma Arashi beats Shotaro Ashino on the final night or block night.
Yeah, for sure. So that's it. So I would say we'll have to see, but I think All Japan is heading in a very good direction.
Both of them are, to be honest.
We'll see. Well, yeah, I was going to get to that next. We'll see how the post-Champion Carnival thing gets handled in this Anzai reign, but they don't screw it up. They're on very good footing. Noah, my God, what a turnaround!
Yes. They were like bottoming out. I mean, like the end of last year. I mean, they basically actively told us that they don't give a shit about the end of last year.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to bring this up. Keno, what's his future? Yeah. He's now second fiddle in a faction when he had a big, cool, tweener faction for a couple of years, right? That the company sort of revolved around, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it seems like they just don't see him above a certain level.
He's 39 now. I think he is going to be 39 or close to it, right? So, yeah. Oh, January 1st, 1985. So he is 39. Do you think this is think he's like it's a little early to cycle him down, but what do you think?
Yeah, no. Like, I don't think they're going to cycle him down. I think this Kaita faction might stick around, but I'm not sure how long he is going to stick around in that faction.
Yeah, for sure.
I think this might be a couple of months before he's just like, yeah, I can't deal with this, and he's going to like turn on Kaito, and then they're going to like have a match.
You think so?
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And
did you see the picture I took? Did you see the screenshot I took of them like shaking hands at the press conference? You can't tell me that that's a relationship built to last. They almost turned on each other right there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. So we will be back at some point because we're gonna have to talk about that Champion Carnival. We've got some big matches in Noah coming up.
Probably after the 22nd, after the One Night Dream one, right?
That would be a good time to return. Exactly 2 weeks from today is One Night Dream. So we'll be back in just a little over 2 weeks to talk about that, and we'll see how because that will be very close to when is that Triple Crown match? Oh, the Triple Crown match the 29th. What we're assuming. Because that's the next Korakuen for all Japan. So yeah, that would be a good time to come back, and we'll know what will be going on and everything like that. So we will see you in a couple of weeks. Take care.
Hello, everyone. My name is Taylor.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are the co-hosts of Jumping Bomb Audio, the #1 show all about the world of Joshi Pro Wrestling. Episodes drop every other Monday, where we discuss the biggest Joshi news, review shows, and preview the hottest upcoming Joshi action.
So whether you're a new fan or an old fan, we've got something here for you at Jumping Bomb Audio.
Check us out on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.